Damn, son.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to LTMB Live. Let the madness begin. This is October 17, 2019. We have a good show for you today. We are broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope Live. So thank you for everybody that showed up tonight. Like I said, we do have a informative show for you tonight. I think it's always good, but still, I probably would try to use the word informative more than anything else. A lot of stuff has happened throughout the course of the last few weeks. There's a lot of things that happened today. Some crucial testimony was provided to the House of Representatives in this impeachment inquiry. There was a press conference given by the acting Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, that we're going to get to. First story we're going to get to as well, the onslaught that the Turkish people have been committing on the Kurds. We're definitely going to get to that as well. So, like I said, thank you for being here with us. If you are on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. And please click that bell as well, as we will be dropping videos shortly, not tonight of course, but tomorrow we're going to try to clip some videos, especially the videos that of the broadcast we did last night of the debate and analysis. So might be a lot of videos coming out.
Yeah, that was 3.5, 4 hour show.
Almost 4 hour show. Yeah. So yeah, we'll try to clip a lot of that. I know people were looking for some shorter clips, not being able to stick around for 3.5, 4 hours. So that's definitely understandable. Let's just jump right into it. Actually, first of all, definitely want to mention Representative Elijah Cummings, who passed earlier this morning. So Elijah Cummings was 68 years old. And like I said, he did pass. He died at Gilchrist Hospice Care, which is a Johns Hopkins affiliate. The reason that was provided were, quote, complications concerning long-standing health challenges, end quote. So many people did not know that he was suffering from some health complications. I know I'm one of them that did not know that, but apparently he has not been present for a roll call vote for over a month, actually. And throughout these impeachment inquiry proceedings, he has not been leading the way. It's been a lot of his staff and just other key figures that have been really doing most of that work. So I believe he had been having to use a scooter to get around. But he expected that he would be back, and he'll be come back, just like any other time. But unfortunately, like I said, he is gone. So, um, you know, he was a long time U.S. representative. I believe he was elected to I think he represented the 7th district. Is that right? Yeah, Maryland 7th district. He was elected in 1996 after serving some years, maybe more than a decade, I believe, in the Maryland House of Delegates, maybe. I don't know if that's what it's called, House of Delegates. I'm not sure. But just as a state rep. But yeah.
I had no clue he even had health issues.
Yeah, it wasn't really reported. I think in Baltimore maybe there was some local reporting that knew about it, but yeah, on a national scale, I don't believe many people knew. There were a lot of condolences being issued by his colleagues, many of his colleagues, and definitely when somebody dies, that's warranted. Who he is and who he was, I think he was an instrumental voice. I think he was more than anything. I think he was an ally in the fight to I guess progress things forward. I think you can disagree with some positions he may have taken.
Yeah, we do, and we did too. Like we didn't make like a specific videos that centered on him, but there was a few stories that we covered in regard to Bernie Sanders, in regard to Joe Biden too,
right?
Where we thought he was being disingenuous in some way. We also criticized him and his generation for maybe kind of rolling back their, I guess, revolutionary traits.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? So
I think we've had more criticism of somebody like John Lewis. We've talked about him a little bit more than somebody like Elijah Cummings, because he's been more out front and more indignant about his change. Like I said, like you're talking about his how he's not really revolutionary anymore. Elijah Cummings not so much. But like I said, I think more than not, again, I think more than not he was an ally. I didn't get the feeling that he was, or I didn't get the feeling that he had, ulterior motives, like he was bought and like he was trying to do this for corporations. He was just there and trying to put a boot on the neck of people. I never really got that feeling about him. I just never did. So, like I said, sad to see him go.
I was curious as to maybe like what Trump would say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's definitely something that a sitting president would have to comment on. Well, not have to, but
no. You would have to, because this is a sitting member of the House. Yeah. Not only is a sitting member of the House, he was the chairman of the House Judiciary. No, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee.
Right.
So he would have to say something, and he did in his regular fashion. He did it through Twitter, and so this is what Trump issued. He said, "My warmest condolences to the family and many friends of Congressman Elijah Cummings. I got to see firsthand the strength, passion, and wisdom of this highly respected political leader. His work and voice on so many fronts will be very hard, if not impossible, to replace."
Very cordial, very sympathetic. I don't think he wrote that though.
No.
I don't think he wrote that.
No.
First of all,
I know he didn't write it.
First of all, it was too eloquent.
Yeah.
Looks like somebody took away his phone before he got to it this morning.
I think it was grammatically correct.
It was too grammatically correct. Trump doesn't have a sympathetic bone in his body.
Especially not for Elijah Cummings.
So, because essentially all those things he said in that tweet were, whatever he said in that tweet contradicted his actual view on Elijah Cummings.
It was the antithesis to what he actually felt about.
You can maybe say, well, he died, so it's just he's giving some sort of general comfort over social media, just to be cordial and just to be diplomatic. True, that could be said, but then you would have to go back on everything else he said.
See, the correct move here was to just shut up just be mute and not say anything, because given how vitriolic he was about Elijah Cummings, anything that he said, anything with, warm regards, condolences, anything, any kind of warm feelings or anything, any sorrow would seem empty, would seem like it was completely phony. And so just to give you if you haven't seen some of the things that President Trump has said about or to Elijah Cummings, this is one of them. He said this was back in August of this year. Really bad news. The Baltimore house of Elijah Cummings was robbed. Too bad. Just mocking him. Also said in July, so sad that Elijah Cummings has been able to do so little for the people of Baltimore. Statistically, Baltimore ranks last in almost every major category. Cummings has done nothing but milk Baltimore dry, but the public is getting wise to the bad job that he is doing. So you can't replace this guy. That's what he's saying today. You can't replace this guy.
But he did a bad job.
He didn't do anything.
He did a bad job in Baltimore.
Yes, did nothing.
And he's responsible for the conditions in Baltimore.
Yes.
All of them.
Bleeding them dry. He also talked about the city, and I know most people will probably remember that, talking about Cummings District is a disgusting rat and rodent infested mess. If he spent more time in Baltimore, maybe he could help clean up this very dangerous and filthy place. So that's real Trump. That's authentic Trump. That's Trump off the cuff. And like I said, this version of Trump right now is not Trump.
Yeah, when you offer condolences that contradict everything you said about someone, it just seems weird.
Yeah.
It just seems a bit disingenuous.
Yeah. Like I said, the right move would have been to just don't say anything.
Maybe like the White House could have released something.
Yes.
There's a White House Twitter account.
There is a White House Twitter account.
There's a White House press release.
Yes. That would have looked much better.
That would have looked much better.
Same message.
Same message, but just from the White House.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody would have been confused or they would have been offended if he didn't say anything.
True.
Because they already know how he feels about Elijah Cummings and what he has said.
Right.
Maybe they don't, but.
All right. So let's get to this conflict that has been going on with with Turkey and the Kurds. So actually, to precede some of these things. So there was a meeting at the White House on Wednesday, and this meeting was with congressional leaders, both parties. So Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi was there. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer was there as well. Steny Hoyer was there. And so they met at the White House to meet with Trump and other congressional leaders to discuss Syria, to discuss the happenings that are going on currently and next steps. Now, preceding this meeting was a vote in the House, a resolution that passed overwhelmingly. I believe only 60 Republicans voted against the resolution. But this resolution was to condemn the removal of U.S. troops from northern Syria. So, of course, that's a bad look for Trump, and you could understand that Trump feels a certain type of way about that. So when they got to this meeting, reports are that Trump behaved very, let's see.
Immaturely?
Immature, you could say belligerent. But yeah, immature, very immature. And that's actually not just coming from the Democratic side. Of course, these are unnamed sources, but unnamed Republican sources that were saying that Trump was actually in rare form and he was just being so demonstrative and just so childish, immature, ridiculous, that nothing really could get done. So it was a Chuck Schumer. Well, the Democratic Party, the Democratic representatives, Congress members, leaders, they left the meeting prematurely. And that was the reason why, because just Trump was, in that way, in that time. And like I said, they didn't want to deal with it anymore. So they left. And so word is that from Schumer and from Pelosi that he was being, I guess, the most vitriolic to Pelosi and actually name calling, saying that she was either a third-rate politician or a third-grade politician, because Pelosi later on specified that it wasn't third-rate, it was third grade, which if it was third grade, I have no idea what that means.
It's Trump. so he probably meant third rate. He probably meant third rate, and the wrong word came out. So.
I assume that's...
Yeah, he probably meant third grade.
Yeah.
I mean third rate.
Yeah. But anyway, Pelosi believed that Trump was just unnerved by that vote. And also, in the backdrop of that is this is this impeachment inquiry. So, Trump is just feeling the weight of all of this. And so he was, he had to lash out. So nothing got done on that. Moving on to another, I guess, an extension of this. We know that on October 6th, it was that Sunday that Trump, the White House, they announced that these U.S. troops that were in northern Syria, and they were essentially protecting the Kurds, they were going to be leaving the area. And that was going to be green lighting the Turkish forces to go ahead and, go commence the attack on the Kurds. They have been wanting to do it for a long, long time, many years, of course. And the only thing that seemed to be stopping them was the presence of U.S. forces. So again, that was on October 6th. So on October 9th, President Trump actually penned a letter to the Turkish president, President Erdogan. And so it was, the effort, I guess, was to seemingly try to stop the attack from taking place. Even though on October 6th, just a few days earlier, we knew that the attack was going to commence because that was announced. With Trump, the White House, everybody knew that that's what the Turkish people's intentions were. Trump, I guess, kind of just communicated it was that, we didn't want the U.S. forces in the way. So we were going to pull them out and let this attack commence. So anyway, he penned a letter. And so that letter was actually released yesterday. And so this is the letter here, okay? So in the letter, Trump starts out, let's work out a good deal. You don't want to be responsible for slaughtering thousands of people, and I don't want to be responsible for destroying the Turkish economy. And I will. I already given you a little sample with the request to Pastor Brunson. So like I said, he just goes on to try to convince him to do the right thing. Don't let the world down. You can make a great deal. This is businessman Trump. This is the businessman. You can make a great deal. History will look upon you favorably if you get this done the right and humane way, even though, again, he greenlit the attack to commence. It will look upon you forever as the devil if good things don't happen. Don't be a tough guy. Don't be a fool.
This is an official.
This is official.
It's an official
communication to another world leader. Yes.
The President of the United States.
Yes.
To the President of another country.
Yes.
Erdogan.
That's right.
I don't know if he had help writing that, but it doesn't look like he did. No, it doesn't. He may have had a little help, but that's
why you
Trump.
know. That's why you know this is actually Trump, and that those words about
Elijah Cummings
are fake.
Don't be a tough
Trump.
guy.
Don't be a fool.
Don't be a fool. Like that's diplomatic right there. And it said that he passed this letter around at that meeting with Pelosi and Schumer. It said that he was passing this letter around because he wanted to, he was proud of it. Like, look what I sent another president. As if somehow, that means anything considering what has already taken place. You feel me?
Yeah.
I mean, Erdogan has already gone forth with his attack.
Right.
So sending a letter now that don't be a tough guy, I'm like, Erdogan, he kind of already.
Well, this letter preceded the attack. Okay, so the letter preceded the attack. Now, again, the letter was dated October 9th. BBC reports that upon receiving the letter, Turkish President Erdogan thoroughly dismissed it, and threw it in the trash. October 9th, the same day of the letter, was the same day that the onslaught commenced.
But see, that's what I'm saying. But he didn't. Trump didn't. The White House didn't release this letter. The White House didn't disclose that they sent this letter.
Right.
That just came out recently.
It did.
That's why it's just weird.
Why would you be proud of
Why would you be
when,
proud of that
yeah.
based on what's already happened? Like, actually, it makes you look bad because he
does.
was like,
Yeah. Who cares about what you say, Trump? I'm doing what I do. And again, I think this was it. I can't conclude anything else but that this was just posturing. Because, again, that phone call that Trump had with Erdogan that Sunday night, or that Sunday on October 6th, we don't know exactly what it consisted of, but we know that Trump gave the go-ahead. In some way, some shape or form, he gave the go-ahead to attack the Kurdish people.
Also, there is a suggestion there that Trump knew what was going to happen. And that is when he tells Erdogan that you don't want to be responsible
Right.
for slaughtering thousands.
So he knows what's going to happen.
So he knows what's going to happen.
Right, of
He's
course.
telling on himself.
Exactly.
Why would Erdogan be responsible for slaughtering thousands if Trump didn't know something like that was going to happen? So for Trump and his administration to play dumb and acting like, hey,
Surprise to us.
Surprise, yeah.
We didn't know it was going to happen.
Shock.
So again, all of this, like you said, the letter was made public yesterday on Wednesday. And so that was ahead of Thursday's meeting with the U.S. delegation that was heading to Turkey. So this delegation was led by U.S. Vice President Mike Pence, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was also there as well. So they were there to meet with President Erdogan and to try to convince him to agree to a ceasefire. That was the reason for the visit. That was the reason for the trip. So these two, VP Mike Pence, I keep saying Prince, but these two, VP Mike Pence and the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, they held a joint press conference on Thursday. And this was after meeting with President Erdogan for several hours. And they had some news to announce. So I'm going to let them announce it themselves.
That today the United States and Turkey have agreed to a ceasefire in Syria. The Turkish side will pause Operation Peace Spring in order to allow for the withdrawal of YPG forces from the safe zone for 120 hours. All military operations under Operation Peace Spring will be paused, and Operation Peace Spring will be halted entirely on completion of the withdrawal.
So they came to an agreement. You heard that 120 hours. That is the suspension of all military operations, of the onslaught of the Kurdish people. The Kurds have 5 days to leave their homes. I mean, he can dress it up any way that he wants to, but essentially this is, hey, you're in Syria right now.
We know you. We know you're there.
Yeah, we know you're in your area,
and we
in
know,
Syria, not in Turkey.
Yeah, not in Turkey. And we know we screwed you over.
Yeah.
So
we know you killed a lot of you.
And this is our consolation for you.
Yeah.
We're not gonna reconcile what we did, but what we're gonna do is we're going to just try to hold off Turkey for 5 days.
Yes.
But after that,
well, he said that Mike Pence did say that. So this is going to be a pause for 5 days. And that's going to allow the Kurdish forces and Kurdish people to leave the area, withdraw from the area, right? From this safe zone that's in Syria again. It's not in Turkey. It's not like the Kurds are in Turkey invading Turkey. No, the Turkish people invaded Syria. They came across the border and invaded Syria.
So let me get this straight. So you are saying that the Trump administration should kind of be issuing ultimatums for Turkey and not the Kurdish people.
Yeah, that's what I was suggesting.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, if anybody's being invaded, it was the Kurds, not the Turkish people.
But
Again, the Kurds, when the U.S. forces were there with the Kurds, the Turkish people were not being threatened, militarily or otherwise. They were not being threatened whatsoever. But they still view them as terrorists. So once the American troops leave, now we have to invade Syria. We have to cross our border into northern Syria and attack them. And so now, again, with this agreement, so these military operations are going to be paused for 5 days, allowing the Kurds to remove from the area. And then if that happens, what Mike Pence is saying is that then it will be a full ceasefire. It will be a complete ceasefire, and there will be no more of this onslaught.
what?
Yes, that's what Mike Pence had. That's what he announced.
Of course there wouldn't be, because there'll be no Kurds there.
Right, right.
To say that, like, this is what it would result in, like, is obvious.
Yes.
Because if there's no Kurds there would be no fire going on. There would be no conflict going on.
There would be no fire going on. There would be no. Yes. I do understand. Yeah, I do understand. Let me see if I have this right here. I don't have it. No. All right. So anyway, now ceasefire has been the word that's been tossed about. Like, oh, good job, American delegation. Good job, VP Mike Pence and Mike Pompeo. Great job with what you did here. You got Turkey to agree to a ceasefire. Well, not so fast. Not so fast. So the Turkish foreign minister, who is Mevlut Cavusoglu, I don't know if I busted that up or not, but he said that a ceasefire, the word ceasefire, was the wrong way to label this. So he told reporters, quote, "This is not a ceasefire. We will pause the operation for 120 hours in order for the terrorists to leave. We will only stop the operation if our conditions are met," end quote. We're going to wait for the terrorists to leave their home. The terrorists that were not threatening us.
Our operations will cease if our demands are met. Again, if your demands are met, then there's no need to go forth with any operation. Because if your demands are met, there's nobody there. Right. So there's nothing to cease or to start. Like,
so Pence said that, I guess this is already underway, and that the Kurds are already... Look, we already knew that there were many Kurds, civilians, that were fleeing the area anyway because civilians were being targeted, attacked, and killed. So this has already been happening. People have been fleeing the area. But Pence, did say that, yeah, okay, so this operation is underway. He said that the United States will be involved, not on the ground, but they will be involved in, I guess, overseeing that this process is actually completed. I don't know exactly how, what kind of strategy you're going to use to actually oversee it if you don't actually have people on the ground. I don't know. But anyway, so President Donald Trump, he is not in Washington today. He actually left Washington, D.C. to head to Dallas, Texas, where he is there for a rally. That's what Donald Trump does. He goes around the country and holds rallies. Like, whatever.
Like he doesn't have a job.
Like he doesn't have a job. But anyway, so after he got off of Air Force One, he had a few words about this agreement. So we're going to show that for you.
All of the people that we sent over the last 3 days, we sent an early group. This is an amazing outcome. This is an outcome, regardless of how the press would like to damp it down. This was something that they've been trying to get for 10 years. You would have lost millions and millions of lives. They couldn't get it without a little rough love, as I called it. I just put out. They needed a little bit of that at the beginning. And then everybody said, wow, this is tougher than we thought. When those guns start shooting, they tend to do things. But I will tell you, on behalf of the United States, I want to thank Turkey. I want to thank all of the people that have gotten together and made this happen. This is an incredible outcome. So you have a 22-mile strip that for many, many years, Turkey, in all fairness, they've had a legitimate problem with it. They had terrorists. They had a lot of people in there that they couldn't have. They've suffered a lot of loss of lives also, and they had to have it cleaned out. But once you start that, it gets to be to a point where a tremendous amount of bad things can happen. So a process started, and we started to negotiate. And I think that obviously the sanctions and tariffs were going to be very biting. I'm glad we don't have to do it. We'll be taking them off very quickly as soon as this is finalized. But this is an incredible outcome. This outcome is something they've been trying to get for 10 years, everybody, and they couldn't get it. Other administrations, and they never would have been able to get it unless you went somewhat unconventional. I guess I'm an unconventional person. I took a lot of heat from a lot of people, even some of the people in my own party, but they were there. In the end, they were there. They're all there. Look, this is about the nation. This isn't about Republicans or Democrats. This is about our nation. So we have a 5-day ceasefire. During that 5 days, the Kurds and other people they're going to be taken great care of. They're going to be moving around, moving out of a safe zone, which is something that Turkey has always wanted. The ISIS, they call them Daesh, but we call them ISIS. The ISIS fighters that we have captured, they'll be under very, very strict control of various different groups, but we will be watching, we will be in charge, and they'll be under very, very powerful and strict control. And we've gotten everything we could have ever dreamed of, and we're also going to be able to bring our people back home, but we'll be able to have control of ISIS total. We'll be able to do whatever we have to do to get the rest of ISIS wherever they may be. They're never going to be ruling us. And I want to thank everybody. And the other thing I want to thank, as a group, I want to thank the Kurds, because they were incredibly happy with this solution. This is a solution that really, well, it saved their lives, frankly. It saved their lives. So we've done a great thing for our partner. If we didn't go this unconventional, tough love approach, you could have never gotten it done. They've been trying to do this for many, many years. You could have never gotten it done.
You're talking about all this shooting as though it was part of a plan. Are you saying that you planned for these people to attack each other?
No, but I do think this, David. I think it had to be an unconventional solution, because the conventional solution is to sit down, negotiate, and they've done that for 15 years, actually. More than that, I understand. And that was never going to work.
Gotta. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Because I don't want to. I don't want to get this video demonetized or taken down,
or have the FBI come.
Yeah, because if you do that, FBI will come knocking on your door. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even if it's in jest.
Yep.
But yeah, that's how I felt. If you know what I mean. I don't know how you could just describe this situation as some sort of peaceful resolution. Like, this is the way he was making it sound. But he said he was doing it with, this is a tough love, kind of a tough love situation, So he got it done. He got it done. But who benefits here? Who benefits here other than Turkey? You see what I'm saying? I'm glad the reporter, kind of questioned him on, hey, like, all this killing is going on, and all this gunfire the Kurds are taking on, all these civilian lives, almost 200,000 that are being affected. Like, what do you have to say about that? Like, that's not reconciling this, I guess, conflict that Trump says has been going on for 15 years. That's not reconciliation if there's one side that's being bombarded by a state military. That's not reconciliation when thousands upon thousands of people are being kind of slaughtered and forced to move from their place of living. It doesn't make sense. To me, it makes even less sense. This press conference made less sense, because if the Kurds were the terrorists, kind of what he's saying, all right? What he is saying is, we were there to protect terrorists. That's what the military was there to do in that demilitarized zone in Syria, where we had the troops that he pulled back. He is suggesting that we were there to protect the terrorists.
We were aligned with terrorists.
We were aligned with the terrorists, and we were protecting the terrorists. That's why, I had to go with this unconventional strategy just to break things up a bit.
This is a psychopath, man. He is maniacal. He is, loss of life means nothing to this guy because, hey, as he has said before, it's 7,000 miles away. We have no interest there.
But then he made it sound like the United States was threatened. If you listen to that, he made it sound like our country is going to be safe and the United States is not going to be threatened anymore or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But he made it sound like the United States was under threat because of what was going on in Syria.
No, like you accurately
but there was
described it. It was like a demilitarized.
There was no fighting. There was no fighting.
Turkey was not being threatened by the U.S. Turkey was not being threatened by the Kurds. Nothing was going on. Really, the American troops were there, and essentially they were protecting the Kurds who fought alongside us in the fight against terrorism, in the fight against ISIS. And so we said that we would have their backs. We said that we would be there for them, and then we weren't. Again, this is a psychopath. He is saying that we needed this unconventional approach, because they've been at each other's necks, at each other's throats for many, many years. And without this rough love, he called this, without this rough love at the beginning, then we couldn't have struck an agreement like this, a sweetheart deal. I don't know if he said sweetheart, but we wouldn't be able to struck that deal without the tremendous loss of life, especially, of course, on the Kurdish side.
But what deal did they strike, though? That deal seems to be completely in Turkey's interest.
Of course.
Completely. That's not a deal.
Of course it
Who's it a deal for?
Right.
Like, hey, we'll move our soldiers back. You can attack the Kurds and displace thousands upon thousands of civilians, and then we'll make a deal with you. A deal with you that doesn't hold you accountable for anything that you did.
No. You get to kill many people. You get to displace all these people. And then all you have to do is just stop.
That's a deal.
That's a deal. It's a great deal. He said it was an amazing outcome. He wants to thank everybody that had a hand in this outcome. So it was a 22-mile strip, and the Kurdish people, they're going to have to stay out of there. That's going to be like the safe zone. That's not in Turkey. It's in Syria. But they're going to have to stay out of that area after they have been gunned down and killed. Stay out of that area unless, and if you don't, I guess Turkey reserves the right to come at you again.
Is that his idea of peace? Is that the Trump administration's idea of peace? I'm confused. I'm confused because that's what he's making it sound like. That's what he's making it sound like. This is a peaceful solution. This was a peaceful solution. Yeah. But it was a solution that had to encompass tough love.
There's a clip I want to show you, and The Daily Show actually put this together. But it's just a comparison of the way President Trump used to talk about the Kurds and how he talks about them now.
We do get along great with the Kurds. We're trying to help them a lot. The Kurds are very well protected. And by the way, they're no angels. Don't forget, that's their territory. We have to help them. I want to help them. Two countries fight over land. That has nothing to do with us. They fought with us. They fought with us. They died with us. They died. We lost tens of thousands of Kurds died fighting ISIS. We're not going to be fighting. We don't want to fight anyway. I don't think there's any reason to. They died for us and with us and for themselves. They've got a lot of sand over there, so there's a lot of sand that they can play with. We don't forget. I don't forget. It's time for us to come home. We're not a policing agent. I can tell you that I don't forget. These are great people. As I said, they're not angels. They're not angels. If you take a look.
Hey, man, things could change. People can turn into good. People can go from good people to not being angels in over a matter of months.
Yep.
People could change. What's interesting about what he said in 2018, what stuck out to me most, and probably was the most important there, is he said that's their territory. That is their territory. So if some outside force, some outside group, some outside person tried to infringe on your home and tried to take over your home, what side do you think authorities would take, or whose side should authorities take in that situation? If someone's infringing upon your territory, someone's intruding upon your home, an outside force or an outside person, what would common sense tell you?
Common sense.
Whose side would you take?
Yeah, you would take the people that are being invaded.
But hey, what if you had beef with this person for years? You had beef with this person. Y'all have been going through some conflict. Does that even matter?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
Especially when
it's your home, it's your territory.
Especially when you're kind of suggesting what this authority entity or figure should do in this situation. What about this? What about when the authority entity is actually on your side? Is actually aligned with you? Has been aligned with you?
And they think that the authority figure is aligned with them.
Yeah. How traitorous would it be for that, for the people that are aligned with you and, are promising to protect you and are saying that, yeah, this is your territory. We're in this together. So many of your forces have been killed in this fight, this joint fight against ISIS. We're there with you.
And even if it's not even about ISIS, right? Even if it's not about ISIS, you can just throw ISIS out of this equation. It's their territory.
Yeah.
You can throw ISIS in the conversation about ISIS and what they mean and how it relates to foreign policy and the war against terror and regime change, all that. That's you could separate that out. But the point is, it's their territory. It's here's the thing. If you say, hey, we should not be wasting, our troops to protect somebody else's territory, I'm fine. If you say that, hey, I don't want to waste our troops, to protect somebody else's territory. But if those troops stand in between, like a group of people that's vulnerable and then a superpower,
right? You got the U.S. troops out of the way so that Turkey could slaughter these people. That's what happened. Don't anybody mistake the situation for something that it's not. He co-signed U.S. forces getting out of the way so that countless numbers of Kurds would die. And then he says that, you have to go through this unconventional approach to get a deal like this. But then he also speaks out of the other side out of his mouth and says that, well, no. I didn't plan this. No. It wasn't a plan. I didn't plan this. But
it can't be both.
You do have to go through an unconventional type route. And they needed this rough love at the beginning.
It can't be
Which
both.
one is it? You had to see that. And like we said, we know that he saw it coming because he announced that Sunday, October 6th. And then in the letter that he sent to President Erdogan, like you mentioned, he said, hey, don't be a fool.
You don't want to be
fool.
responsible
Exactly
for the slaughter of thousands of people. Again, that contradicts his whole narrative that he had no clue that, people were going to suffer, people were going to die. But now he's talking about it being tough love. So which is it? He's
a monster, man. He is a monster. He does not care about loss of life. Again, these are people that are 7,000 miles away from us. He cares nothing about them. Even that they fought alongside us, even though they were not threatening us or Turkey, it doesn't matter. He has no interest in their lives. He had an interest in a deal. I guess he did have an interest in a deal, and if it took some lives lost to get that deal, then hey, it's not my life, so what do I care?
A deal that just benefits Turkey. And again, why would Trump flip from 2018? Why? There has to be something in it for him.
Well, he does have some business interest in Turkey. But maybe that's not it, Wouldn't put that on him? No, I wouldn't put that on him. All right, let's move on. So let's talk about this impeachment inquiry, okay? So recently, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi has delayed the formal impeachment inquiry vote. So on Tuesday, she had a joint press conference with the House Intelligence Committee Chairman, Adam Schiff, and she did say that there will be no formal vote on the impeachment inquiry of President Trump as of right now. So we want to show you a short clip of that.
There's no requirement that we have a vote. And so at this time, we will not be having a vote. And I'm very pleased with the thoughtfulness of our caucus in terms of being supportive of the path that we are on, in terms of fairness, in terms of seeking the truth, in terms of upholding the Constitution of the United States. Thank you, Mr.
If
Chairman.
I can follow up on that point, that's a very key point, though. And as the chairman says, the Constitution, Article 1, Section 2 and 3 are clear about what bodies have power
Right.
of impeachment here. But that said, when you hear from your caucus, we're not ready to have a vote yet, why not call the administration's bluff and say...
Why? Because we're not here to call bluffs. We're here to find the truth, to uphold the Constitution of the United States. This is not a game for us. This is deadly serious. And we're on a path that is taking us to a path to truth and a timetable that respects our Constitution.
So, look, she's catching some grief for that because some people are wondering what is the holdup here. There's a lot. Look, it's been reported that it's not really her that is holding things up. That's what's being reported. It's actually some centrist Democrats that are holding up the actual vote. Because these centrist Democrats, and I believe specifically freshmen that were just elected last year in the midterms, they're concerned about their standing in their district, particular districts that they won, but that in 2016, President Donald Trump won in the presidential election. So again, these are the centrists, and they're looking out for their political careers, and they don't know how, I guess, their constituents are going to react to a formal vote, them taking an official position on the impeachment inquiry. That's what's being reported, and I do believe that, there's some logic to that. I believe there is some logic.
Yeah, because I guess they're not sure whether the evidence that, amounts against Trump is going to be significant enough to influence people's perception of Trump.
Right.
If it is, then I would think they would be safe. I think they'd be safe if there's enough evidence that comes out. I think they'd be safe. I guess,
Look, evidence, more and more stuff is coming out just by the hour, by the day, by the week, whatever. We're really not that far along in this whole process, but there's a lot of damning information that's coming out. But we have already talked about what the public perception is about the impeachment inquiry and removal from office. We even cited a Fox News poll where there's a great number of respondents, actually the majority of respondents, were supportive of impeachment, the impeachment inquiry, and removal from office.
there's a lot of people that are mad that it's kind of, I guess they're dragging their feet, I guess.
Yeah.
Pelosi is dragging their feet.
It
It looks that way.
Yeah.
And so they don't like it being dragged along, and maybe it looks to a lot of people that it's just kind of a sideshow. It's just theater, just political theater is being dragged along. They're not really going to do it. But like you said, there's stuff coming out by the hour, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they're just waiting until some more pieces fall into place.
It's possible. Now, I guess what's unfortunate or what's negative about this is that President Trump and Republicans that continue to cast this whole investigation as illegitimate and as a witch hunt, they're able to do so because it's not actually going through the formal process. So President Trump can say that, he's not going to participate in these proceedings whatsoever. Subpoenas are going unanswered, this and that, because again, they're presenting this as a witch hunt because it hasn't been a formal vote on it yet, which that is customarily how this thing would be done. So like that's I guess that's the negative about this. But like you were talking about with public perception, with the things that keep coming out and how these centrist Democrats, if they are afraid of their standing and if they can get reelected in their district, they should be safe if these things continue to come out and I guess weigh on these, American people's minds and convince them that, yes, this is proper for an impeachment inquiry to take place. And if it goes to the Senate, then removal takes place. So there's another poll that had just came out, and it's a Gallup poll. And so it reveals that 52% of people, including Republicans, are supportive of impeachment and removal from office. So really the big number is the independent number, as that has grown. So 55% of independents support impeachment and removal from office. Now, if you separate it by specific party, of course, the Democratic Party, I believe it's 90, maybe over 90% of respondents, they believe that, yes, they support it. But only, I think, about 6% of Republicans, people that are actually Republicans, they support it. But again, the big number is the 55% of independents, which that is the biggest group in the United States of America. Also, this is also from Gallup. Gallup measured public support for impeachment and removal of Richard Nixon and Bill Clinton during their presidencies. Nixon resigned from office when it was clear the House would vote to impeach him, while Clinton was impeached by the House, but the Senate voted to keep him in office. The level of support for Trump being impeached and removed is well above where it was for Clinton, and higher than it was for Nixon in all but the final poll before he resigned. So, at this point right now, Donald Trump is ahead of Nixon and Bill Clinton. In the polls, more people are supportive of impeachment than they were at the same time with Clinton and Nixon. Actually, with Clinton, public support of impeachment never rose above 35%.
But he's still impeached.
35% now. 35%. Right now, we have it at 52% for Trump. The only number that eclipsed that was the final poll before Nixon actually resigned from office. And I believe that poll, 58% of people were supportive of impeachment and removal from office. So it looks like the support is there from the public. It seems as though the public sees that this is not right. It seems that they know that this is a lawless president. And he has done, if not just one thing, many things that are worthy of him being impeached and removed from office. So these centrists, stop being so weak. Stop capitulating to Republicans. I believe one of them, Chrissy Houlihan, there's a quote from her saying something like she was wondering if the Democrats were being fair to Republicans. How weak is that? Do Republicans care? Did Republicans care if they were being fair to Democrats or fair about the whole Benghazi hearings? What about the emails, the Hillary Clinton's emails? What about the many times that they tried, they thought about impeaching President Barack Obama?
The IRS investigation, Solyndra.
It's ridiculous.
Fast and Furious.
It's ridiculous at this point. Like I know that, again, they're moderates. They're not on the progressive wing of the party, no doubt. But to be so scared that voters are going to make you pay for a president who clearly does not care about his wrongdoing out in the open. Just do your job. How about you just do your job and let the chips fall where they may?
So again, it's like the motive behind why they don't want to go forth with it is kind of in bad faith. The motive is in bad faith. So I'm not going to judge whether an impeachment inquiry is valid based on the self-interest of some centrist establishment Democrats. And I don't think anybody else's opinion on it should be either. So I just kind of toss them to the side and say, hey, they're just, their opinion is based on some sort of a self-serving agenda. So I truly don't care. It doesn't change my opinion on whether an impeachment inquiry is valid or not.
So, we're gonna kind of move on. Today, the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland, he testified behind closed doors for Congress in the House for the 3 committees that are engaging in this impeachment inquiry. So he told members of Congress that he was directed by President Trump to work with his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, on matters pertaining to Ukraine. So the backdrop of this is a meeting that he was involved in. So was the former ambassador Kurt Volker, the former special envoy to Ukraine that resigned recently. But they were there with President Trump to essentially convince him that he needed to take a meeting with the new president of Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky. They were trying to assure him that corruption in Ukraine was on the right track, because again, Ukraine has a long history of corruption, and they've made several steps to try to fix that problem, try to rid the country of the corruption embedded into the system. So with the election of Zelensky too, he is seen as a reformer. Again, they were trying to convince him that he needed to talk to the new president. The Pentagon even confirmed that the Ukraine had taken enough steps to rid the country of corruption. President Trump was unconvinced. For some reason, he was unconvinced. So that's why he withheld that aid package from Ukraine. And he said that he wanted at least these two, more as well, but specifically these two, to go through his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, on all matters concerning Ukraine.
His personal attorney. Someone
attorney.
who is not employed by the United States government,
No.
Department of Justice,
No.
or any kind of a law enforcement agency.
Has no standing in government.
No standing in government.
No.
And he's using his personal attorney to try to pressure the officials of another country. Now, does that seem on the up and up to you?
So this is part of Gordon Sondland's opening statement that he made to these congressional members. So he said, here we go. So he said, indeed, Secretary Perry, Ambassador Volker, and I were disappointed by our May 23rd, 2019 White House debriefing. We strongly believe that a call and White House meeting between Presidents Trump and Zelensky was important, and that these should be scheduled promptly and without any preconditions. We were also disappointed by the president's direction that we involve Mr. Giuliani. Our view was that the men and women of the State Department, not the president's personal lawyer, should take responsibility for all aspects of U.S. foreign policy towards Ukraine. Now, as if we needed to hear that from Gordon Sondland. Now, it is valuable to hear that from somebody that was actually involved in this. But of course, we already knew that it was very irregular, and doesn't seem like it's on the up and up for the president's personal attorney to be involved in this. So Sondland, he continues. He says, however, based on the president's direction, we were faced with a choice. We could abandon the goal of a White House meeting for President Zelensky, which we all believe was crucial to strengthening U.S.-Ukrainian ties and furthering long-held U.S. foreign policy goals in the region, or we could do as President Trump directed and talk to Mr. Giuliani to address the president's concerns. We chose the latter path, which seemed to all of us, Secretary Rick Perry, Ambassador Kurt Volker, and myself, to be the better alternative. But I did not understand until much later that Mr. Giuliani's agenda might have also included an effort to prompt the Ukrainians to investigate Vice President Biden or his son, or to involve Ukrainians directly or indirectly in the president's 2020 re-election campaign.
So he's saying he didn't know about the president's agenda.
He said he didn't know. He didn't know until much later. Actually, I believe he testified that he did not know specifically that Rudy Giuliani, this was his path, this was his mission, until he actually did read the the notes of the phone call. So he had no dealings with this. His testimony is saying that he had no idea that this was taking place. Like, this was the direction that not just, now he didn't say it like that, but this was not the direction that just Rudy Giuliani wanted, but Rudy Giuliani was being directed by somebody, right? He's not like he's just operating on his own here. So if he's the president's personal attorney,
Who is he being directed by? Let me see. President's personal attorney. Who else would Rudy Giuliani be directed by? Is there someone else that he's serving? Again, Giuliani has been on these media tours.
yep,
And what has he been saying? He's saying, I'm trying to protect my client. I'm on this mission
Yes.
to protect my client. And his client is Donald Trump. He hasn't mentioned anybody else.
nope,
He's not trying to protect anybody else. So who else would be directing him?
right.
It's Trump's lawyer. Is there somebody else, some other mystery person? What I want to know is how is he getting paid? Because it said that Trump wasn't paying him. So if he's doing work for Trump and somebody else is paying him, that means Trump or somebody else connected to Trump has some sort of back door to pay Rudy Giuliani. Maybe it's Lev Parnas and Igor Fruman.
Yeah.
They have been arrested already.
Yeah.
For
Actually,
campaign,
they were in court today, I believe.
for campaign finance violations.
Right. Made a big deposit.
A big deposit.
To was it a PAC?
A PAC.
A Trump PAC.
A Trump
right?
PAC.
Yeah.
They made a big deposit into a Trump PAC.
Right.
And they were meeting with Rudy Giuliani. And he was working on behalf of Donald Trump.
This is not connected. It can't be connected, right? No, it can't be connected whatsoever. And Trump, for all it's worth, says that he does not know who these two people are. These are Rudy Giuliani's people. He doesn't know. And he offered that, hey, if there's any pictures out there between me and, with me and these two people, hey, I take pictures with everybody. So that doesn't mean anything.
Well, maybe, but they obviously know who he is. If I'm gonna drop $500,000 on a candidate's PAC,
Right.
a presidential candidate's PAC, a president's PAC. If I'm gonna drop $500,000, I would hope that this person knows me. I'll be mad.
Yes.
I'll be mad if this person didn't
I
know
would
me.
be really mad. So, all right. So let's keep going with some of Sondland's testimony. So he went on, this was on September 9th. He was recalling September 9th of this year. So he said, taking the issue seriously and given the many versions of speculation that have been circulating about the security aid, I called President Trump and directly I asked the president, what do you want from Ukraine? The president responded, nothing. There is no quid pro quo. The president repeated no quid pro quo multiple times. So then he adds, let me state clearly, inviting a foreign government to undertake investigations for the purpose of influencing an upcoming U.S. election would be wrong. Withholding foreign aid in order to pressure a foreign government to take such steps would be wrong. I did not and would not ever participate in such undertakings. In my opinion, security aid to Ukraine was in our vital national interest and should not have been delayed for any reason.
That second tweet is pretty damning. That second tweet is pretty damning.
Well, that's from his opening statement.
His opening statement.
Yeah.
That's suggesting that that's what Trump was trying to do.
Yeah.
Why would you say, hey, I don't think this particular act is permissible. I don't believe withholding aid
For any reason.
for any reason, especially to investigate one particular person. That particular person just happens to be the son of Joe Biden, your political rival. He's clearly stating that that's something that is not right.
Yeah.
He's clearly stating that. So
So he doesn't blatantly say it. He doesn't blatantly say that, yes, President Trump was wrong and this is clearly what he was trying to do. But all you have to do is actually read what he was saying, and that's the only thing that you can come away with. So also, to add to this, acting White House Chief of Staff, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney held a press conference today. And he definitely made some news on a few different subjects. But first, we're going to stay with Ukraine and the phone call and the aid. So we have a clip that we'd like to show you.
So the demand for an investigation into the Democrats was part of the reason that it was ordered to withhold funding to Ukraine.
The look back to what happened in 2016 certainly was part of the thing that he was worried about in corruption with that nation. And that is absolutely appropriate.
But to be clear, what you just described is a quid pro quo. It is funding will not flow unless the investigation into the Democratic server happen as well.
We do that all the time with foreign policy. We were holding up money at the same time for what was it? The Northern Triangle countries. We were holding up aid at the Northern Triangle countries so that they would change their policies on immigration. By the way, and this speaks to an important. I'm sorry. This speaks to an important point because I heard this yesterday. And I can never remember the gentleman who testified. Was it McKinney, the guy? Is that his name? I don't know him. He testified yesterday. And if you believe the news reports, okay, because we've not seen any transcripts of this. The only transcript I've seen was Sondland's testimony this morning. If you read the news reports and you believe them, what did McKinney say yesterday? Well, McKinney said yesterday that he was really upset with the political influence in foreign policy. That was one of the reasons he was so upset about this. And I have news for everybody. Get over it. There's going to be political influence in foreign policy. I'm talking to Mr. Carl. That is going to happen. Elections have consequences, and foreign policy is going to change from the Obama administration to the Trump administration. And what you're seeing now, I believe, is a group of mostly career bureaucrats who are saying, you know what, I don't like President Trump's politics, so I'm going to participate in this witch hunt that they're undertaking on the Hill.
So you would say that it's fine to ask about the DNC, but not about Biden? So Biden is running for the Democratic nomination, right? That's for 2020.
That's a hypothetical because that did not happen here.
No,
but I would ask you.
No. On the call, the president did ask about investigating the Bidens. Are you saying that the money that was held up that had nothing to do with Biden?
No, the money held up had absolutely nothing to do with Biden. There's no question, and that was the point I made to you. You may not like the fact. In fact, understand from reading his opening testimony that Gordon Sondland didn't like the fact that Giuliani was involved and said that in his testimony. Okay, that's great. You may not like the fact that Giuliani was involved. That's great, that's fine. It's not illegal. It's not impeachable. The president gets to use who he wants to use. The president wants to fire me today and hire somebody else he can.
From the actual,
the president gets to set foreign policy, and he gets to choose who to do so. As long as it doesn't violate any law, okay, and it doesn't violate any laws regarding confidential information or classified material, anything like that, the president gets to use who he wants to do.
Look, Mulvaney is being purposely obtuse here. For some reason, he doesn't know that McKinney's name is actually McKinley. He did this actually 2 or 3 times throughout this press conference where he doesn't know key figures' names. He just doesn't know them. McKinney, yeah, I think he testified yesterday. It's Michael McKinley, who was a top aide in the State Department, a top aide of Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. You think he would know that? Especially given that he testified yesterday. You'd think he would know that, but he's calling him McKinney. But really, of course, there's several takeaways here, but the biggest one is that you have on the record the White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, admitting that there was, in fact, a quid pro quo. This whole entire time, Trump has been denying it. Republicans on the Hill have been denying it. Everybody, all of them that are trying to protect Donald Trump have been saying, this phone call was a nothing burger, just to quote Senator Lindsey Graham. Nothing burger, nothing to see here. You don't impeach a president because of this. There was no quid pro quo. You have Mick Mulvaney on the record in this press conference saying that, yeah, there was a quid pro quo. And you know what? We're allowed to do that. We do that all the time. So he said that it's appropriate to withhold money so that you can get some other government or some other country to do a certain type of thing. And so then he was asked the question about, well, you're saying that, okay, so it was appropriate to ask about 2016 and the DNC and the server. You're saying it was appropriate to ask about that, but not the Bidens. And so that's really what he was asserting, that yes, it was okay to withhold that aid to get, I guess, a final determination on the DNC and the server, and if Ukraine had the server and this and that, whatever, this conspiracy theory. But no, the Biden, that whole investigation, that had nothing to do with it. Now, it is very imperative to link those two together. You know why? Because of the phone call. Because not only did President Trump ask for one favor, he asked for two. You can't separate them. So the withholding of the aid, you can't just say it was just tied to the DNC server. You would have to say that the withholding of the aid, as per what Mick Mulvaney just said, had to be about the Biden investigation as well. Because remember, Trump did not just want one favor. He wanted another one, and that was about the Bidens. Mick Mulvaney just completely threw President Trump under the bus.
Does he know that, though?
I don't know if I don't know if he knew that he did that. There were some reports that, given this press conference by Mick Mulvaney, President Trump's legal team were baffled by his comments. Very unimpressive. They were.
Here's the thing. They may have been baffled, but I think Mulvaney knows what Trump did is indefensible. So
yes,
might as well just say, hey, he can do it. It doesn't matter.
He can do it.
He can do it.
Because remember what he said? He said, get over it.
Get over it. It's so evident. So why not just come out and be like, hey, he can do it. He can use anybody he wants. His personal attorney, even though it's bankrolled by two criminals. Now, one thing I do agree with him on is maybe as far as his diplomacy. He mentioned, he didn't say diplomacy, but he was talking about, trying to influence foreign policy, trying to use, aid packages as leverage to make sure, other countries adhere to something, some kind of policy or whatever. I'm okay with that. But that's not what happened here. Like he mentioned, I forgot what he mentioned. Like I can't remember what
examples he gave.
He said immigration policy.
Right.
But that's not what happened in this Ukrainian situation. There was no particular overarching foreign policy that Trump was requesting Ukraine to take on or to implement. If it was that, then I don't think it would have been as suspicious.
And I don't think Giuliani would have
be there.
Either.
Giuliani wouldn't have been there because that's not how you initiate, I guess, kind of policy changes in another country. That's not how it's done. So if it was really about corruption, yes, you go about it broadly by trying to get the country to institute broad policies so that corruption won't take place. You won't curb corruption in a broad way by going after one person. That's just not how that's why when Trump was asked, what did you want the president to do about corruption? He couldn't answer. Because if it was really about broad corruption and him trying to get Ukraine to tackle corruption in a broad way, then Trump would have been able to name certain policies, kind of an outline, an agenda that Ukraine could adopt. But no, it was about one person. That's what makes it disingenuous. And that's what makes Mulvaney disingenuous, because he's comparing two things that aren't alike. Trump wasn't seeking some sort of overarching policy change. Also, I'm still struck that he pretty much admitted that there was a quid pro quo. I'm struck.
He admitted it. Look, we've said before that you didn't need the quid pro quo, okay? You didn't need it because what we have here is a campaign finance violation. You requested assistance from a foreign entity, a foreign government, to assist your re-election bid. That is illegal. That is a campaign finance violation, all right? That in and of itself is illegal. So you didn't need the quid pro quo, but lo and behold, Mick Mulvaney gave it to you anyways.
But he's trying to see what he's trying to do is just redefine this as foreign policy.
But it's more than that. Again, he's saying that, look, it was proper. It was definitely proper to have Ukraine investigate this whole DNC thing, this whole DNC server and this conspiracy thing. That was definitely proper. But see, when you connect all this other information to it, again, the Pentagon had asserted that the Ukraine had taken massive steps to correct their problem with corruption. They had certified that. You have to include that as well. Then the election of President Zelensky, who is viewed as a reformer. You have to include that as well. It's not like this is a president that has been there for a while and has been there throughout all the corruption. No, this is the election of a new president, a reformer. So with all that information, you have Gordon Sondland, you have Volcker, you have these people trying to convince the president of the United States, Trump, hey, look, we need to do something. Or you need to talk to the new president in Ukraine. We need to, develop this relationship. You know what? Given all you said, I'm just not buying it. You know what you want? You know what I want you to do? I want you to go through my personal attorney, and he's going to be the point man here. He's going to find out some things. And what was his goal? We know what his goal was. We know that he wanted to dig up dirt on the Bidens. We know that the end goal was to have Ukraine announce that there was an investigation into the Bidens so as to damage Joe Biden's candidacy for 2020. And it wasn't just because Rudy Giuliani wanted it to happen. It's not because what does this have to do with him?
But he's already said he already said himself on national television that he was protecting his client.
Yes, he was working for his client.
Maybe he was just. Maybe Trump was going to say that. Maybe that Giuliani was just doing work for him without him knowing, just like Cohen was.
This is amazing. And again, by Mulvaney admitting that there was a quid pro quo for the first favor that Trump asked for, again, you can't disconnect the second favor. So again, the withholding of the aid is tied to the DNC server, that conspiracy theory, and it's also tied to the Bidens. So it looks like Mick Mulvaney threw you under the bus with the campaign violation and the quid pro quo, the withholding of the aid to Ukraine.
And I mean, think about it. Whether it be like the State Department, whether it be an aid package that was approved by Congress, if President Trump had made a valid case about why it needed to be withheld and certain steps that Ukraine needed to take on an issue, any issue, I would say any issue, not if it's just corruption, whether it was immigration, corruption, some sort of, financial issue, economic issue, whatever it is, I'm pretty sure they'd be like, damn, we see that too.
Yeah.
So we're going to hold back this aid package until this country deals with this. I guarantee if there was a case for that, Congress would have been like, oh, true that. The State Department would have been like, damn, word, damn, yo, it's right there, man. So yeah, let's hold back this aid package until they get this settled. If it was on the up and up, and if there was really a problem, that if the problem was as bad as Trump is making it out to be.
Yes. But this is not the situation. This is not that situation because the Pentagon and the State Department were confused. They did not understand why the aid was being withheld. And you heard from Gordon Sondland himself, the aid should not have been withheld for any reason. There was not any appropriate reason to withhold the aid. So then if there was no appropriate reason to withhold the aid, then why was it withheld?
Because
this is simple math here.
It was to benefit Trump in particular. It was not to tackle Ukrainian corruption.
This is not some very complicated math equation that needs to be solved. No. All this takes is the slightest bit of common sense. Who was Rudy Giuliani working for? What interests were he working to? What was this whole thing for? These shenanigans. Why was Rudy Giuliani even in conversation with anybody in Ukraine? For Donald Trump. So anyway, okay. So that's not all we have from the White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney. Because Mick Mulvaney wanted to announce some more corruption. So again, we're going to show this clip and let him announce the corruption.
We're going to do the 46th G7 Summit on June 10th through June 12th at the Trump National Doral facility in Miami, Florida. Again, anticipating your questions, how is this not an emoluments violation? How is the president going to profit from this? I think the president has pretty much made it very clear since he's got here that he doesn't profit from being here. He has no interest in profit from being here. It's one of the reasons that he's not taken a salary since he's been here, is given that salary to charity. Will not be profiting here. We had talked about the possibility of whether or not the president could actually do it at no cost. They understand there's difficulties with doing it that way. But we also have difficulties, obviously, if they charge market rates. So they're doing this at cost. As a result, it's actually going to be dramatically cheaper for us to do it at Doral compared to the other final sites that we had. Listen, I was skeptical. I was aware of the political sort of criticism that we'd come under for doing it at Doral, which is why I was so surprised when the advance team called back and said that this was the perfect physical location to do this. So I get the criticisms. So does he. Face it, he'd be criticized regardless of what he chose to do. But no, there's no issue here on him profiting from this in any way, shape, or form. What's the difference between this and what we're talking about, the Bidens? Well, first of all, there's no profit here. Clearly, there's profit to the Bidens. And second of all, I think if there's one difference that you look at between the Trump family and the Biden family, Trump family made their money before they went into politics.
That's a fucking lie. That's a damn lie. They're making money right now. This is well documented. Their earnings this year just came out, or last year, sorry. Their earnings came out just recently.
The problem is that this is open. The serious problem that we have here is that usually the corruption is behind doors. It's like under a cover. You can't see it so openly. But with this current administration, they put it right in your face for all to see, and then they dare you to call them out for it. I dare you to call out the corruption. It's not corruption because
Trump said so.
I said it's not.
And Trump said so. Trump said, "Hey, I'm not profiting." He said he's not profiting, so therefore he's not profiting, even though he is profiting.
How is he not profiting? If this event is going to take place at Trump National at Doral, if it's going to take place there, then that means that there's going to have to be some money that is given to this facility.
And who do you think is fitted? Who do you think is
this building? This structure? This business? Some money is going to have to be. Yeah, this property is going to have to be given money so that they can host this event.
So where does that money coming from? Where is that money going to come from? Who is that money going to be owed to?
So the House Judiciary Committee chairman, Jerry Nadler, this is what he had to say about it. He said, hosting the G7 summit at Doral implicates both the foreign and domestic emoluments clauses because it would entail both foreign and U.S. government spending to benefit the president, the latter potentially including both federal and state expenditures. More importantly, the Doral decision reflects perhaps the first publicly known instance in which foreign governments would be required to pay President Trump's private businesses in order to conduct business with the United States.
Yes.
No this cost, is so outrageous.
Okay, you know what's even more outrageous? How Mulvaney was trying to say, hey, we were trying to do it with no cost. How? How? How?
So somebody's just gonna be like, oh, you can do it for free.
You can do it for free.
We're not gonna charge you anything.
Trump was gonna be like, y'all can stay here for free. But he says, hey, we thought about that, but we're just gonna do it at market cost.
Just gonna do it at cost. Gonna give you a deal. So Trump is going to...
Trump is... You know what? He's making it sound like, hey, we're going to charge you regular prices. We're not going to price gouge you. Yes. So it's not bad. Since we're not raising the prices and we're not raising the charges, it's not bad.
It's an unbelievable deal.
It's normal charges, so it's good.
But the money is still going to go to Trump. President... It's not like... Understand, there is going to be an exchange of money. No matter where this event is being held, there was going to be an exchange of money. Now, if Trump is saying that, or if Mick Mulvaney is saying that by hosting it here, it's going to be a reduced price. It's going to be done at cost. Okay, well, that's a better deal in terms of the money that has to be spent, but money still has to be spent. And whose pocket will that go into? It will go into Donald Trump's pocket. So you can't say that it's not a profit because money is going to be given to Donald Trump. I don't understand.
Oh, no. I think you do understand. I think you do understand. I know. It's blatant, man. It's blatant. At this point, I don't see how people can just not look at this with some, just a little bit of suspicion. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just give me a little bit of suspicion. Oh my gosh. If you're not going to say it's blatant corruption, at least admit that you're like a little bit suspicious.
Any business in the world, if I have to go get my car fixed, right? But I know a guy, he's going to give me a hookup, he's not going to make me pay full price, hey, do it at cost. I still have to exchange, there's still going to be an exchange of money, right? I still have to give him money. Now, let's say that, I have to buy a tire. So this guy bought a tire, right? Because, he has to stock the store, right? Hey, tire was $75 for him, right? So he's going to give it to me for $75. So, hey, I guess, there's no profit, but he is being recouped the money, isn't he? I still have to give him money, right? Money is still being exchanged. The United States federal government will have to give Trump money. Foreign governments would have to give Trump money. And in this instance right here, I don't understand how you can make in that case, there is a certain okay, well, this store bought a product and they're just going to turn it over to somebody and recoup the money. It still would be bad. It still would be a violation of the Emoluments Clause.
But in this case, that's not happening. It's actually worse because he's going to profit.
Yes, because you're talking. How would anybody know? Seriously, how would anybody know that there's not going to be a profit here? Who knows what the actual costs are going to be? And how do you ascertain what the cost should be? How do you break even? Because of course you're going to have to pay for room and board, you're going to have to pay for, there's going to be staff there as well. There's golf in there. There's all of these different, things to do.
Either way, no matter, it's not going to cost the property. It's not going to cost his business because whatever it costs his business, he's going to get it back.
He's going to get it back.
Because all those costs are going to be the responsibility of governments, and the federal government and foreign governments.
Trump's strategy is just as long as I keep it out in the open.
Can't say nothing.
And I say that it's not corruption. Well, then it's not corruption. I can bribe people right out in the open. It's not corruption because I told you about it.
But he's not a part of the political establishment, though. He's not a career politician that has been, corrupted. He's not one of those, right? Corrupted by the system. He's above all that. He's above all that.
He's going to do it at cost. Boy, what a favor. What a nice guy. What a nice guy. He's helping out. He's just being benevolent.
Benevolent. Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
But impeachment is an affront to democracy.
Impeachment is an affront.
That's the real affront to democracy here.
Yes. And you know what? The emoluments, that case, right?
Yeah. Fourth Circuit.
Yeah.
Because he he appealed it.
Yeah.
He lost. He lost.
So
and there's actually a few cases too. There's a few tax cases that are pending that Trump is a part of. It's not just the emoluments. It's the tax cases too. He recently lost that one too. So there's a couple of them. There's multiple ones. There's multiple tax cases and multiple emoluments cases. So it just depends on what judges preside over those cases. I think the Marza case that recently, kind of information about that recently came out, and I think the judges who are going to be overseeing that are, I want to say, Obama appointees or something, or Bill Clinton appointee. I can't remember, but yeah. But if that court says that they can go forth with releasing his financial information and tax information, then it goes to the Supreme Court.
And that's what he's looking for.
That's what he's looking for.
He wants a save from the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Also, connected to this issue as well, because we've been talking about corruption. We've been talking about Ukraine. We've been talking about Gordon Sondland's testimony. We've been talking about Kurt Volker. Some breaking news. Just before we started tonight. Some breaking news. The Secretary of Energy?
Yes, the Secretary of Energy.
Guy by the name of Rick Perry.
Oops.
Yeah, the Oops guy.
Rick Oops.
Yeah, Oops.
He actually couldn't even name his own agency.
That's right. Yeah.
He forgot the agency,
did.
name of the agency he's running now.
Yes.
In a presidential debate.
Yeah. But Rick Perry is resigning.
Yes, he's resigning. He just put in his resignation. He officially turned in his letter on Air Force One. But everything's fine.
Oh yeah, everything's fine.
Everything's
man.
fine.
No, nothing to be worried about here, man. Everything is fine. This doesn't mean anything.
This is not coincidental.
No, come on.
Isn't he a part of this whole Ukraine
He
saga?
is. He's involved. I mean, because he was the one that was he was trying to urge President Trump to talk to President Zelensky. Now I believe he has stated that he didn't know anything, about this whole Giuliani and Biden situation. I believe he has said that. But yes, he did admit that he wanted Trump to talk to Zelensky. Just like Gordon Sondland wanted them to speak as well, but did not know about this, side issue.
The House Democrats, they did subpoena Rick Perry.
They did.
The deadline to respond to that subpoena is tomorrow.
The deadline to respond to the subpoena is tomorrow.
So the deadline to respond to the subpoena is tomorrow, and he just turned in his letter of resignation today.
Okay. It's still fine. We're good. We're still fine. Trump is still fine. Trump is still fine. The house is not burning. It's not burning. No, everything's fine. You smell that smoke? No, we're fine.
No heat at all. No heat. It's cool.
Yeah, we can fix this. Why are people jumping ship? The people that are, I wouldn't say implicated, but they are definitely involved in this situation. Why are people jumping ship?
Just a coincidence. Earlier this month, the White House said that Rick Perry wasn't going anywhere.
Whew. Yeah. That was that after Trump threw him under the bus?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, earlier this month. He said he's not going anywhere. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not next month. That was their quote earlier this month. They said that was fake news. Trump said that was fake news. The White House said that was fake news, that he was leaving.
Well, I have a response from Trump though, because it doesn't seem to match up with what you just said. Trump responded to this news saying, quote, Rick and I have been talking for 6 months. In fact, I thought he might go a bit sooner. But he's got some very big plans. He's going to be very successful. We have his successor. We'll announce it pretty soon. End quote. I thought you just said that Rick Perry isn't going anywhere. I thought I heard you just say that.
I didn't say that. White House said that.
The White House said that.
White House said that earlier this month.
Well, this month, the White House said that. But Trump said that they've been talking for months, 6 months, and he thought that Rick Perry would be gone sooner.
He's trying to make this seem normal. Now, if it was somebody that wasn't involved in this whole Ukraine thing, maybe I can believe that, but it's not. No executive privilege now, I don't think.
No, there is not. You cannot stop him from testifying now.
Yeah, no executive privilege. He doesn't work for the White House anymore. Doesn't work for the Trump administration.
And recently, Perry did say that he was unsure if he was going to comply with the subpoena. He said he was unsure if he was going to do that. And like you said, the deadline
I guess
submitting those documents is tomorrow, Friday.
He turned in his letter, and I think he might make an official public announcement. And he did say he's not going to say anything bad about Trump. He's not going to. He's going to leave diplomatically. But of course he would have to do that because he don't want no smoke from Trump. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want that.
I mean, he kind of opened himself up to say whatever he wants to now, though. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow's a big day for Rick Perry, I guess. Tomorrow's a big day for Rick Perry. What's he going to do? He's going to comply with the subpoena, given that he is no longer a part of the administration?
I mean, Giuliani says he's not going to, comply with the subpoena or any request for information.
He did.
But see, he never worked for the Trump administration. He's just Trump's lawyer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I say unless, House Democrats flex their muscle with Giuliani, I think it means nothing. Impeachment inquiry means nothing unless they enforce these subpoena stiff arms.
Yeah.
It means nothing. Somebody need to go in cuffs. I'm just saying. Somebody need to come out in cuffs. Because I know we would if we ignored subpoenas, especially if we were involved in the type of criminality that Giuliani is involved in. Come on. That's felony shit, you know? Yep. We'd be drug out in cuffs.
Well, look, this is clearly not over. This is clearly not over, and the investigation will continue. Of course, again, it's not an official impeachment inquiry right now. It's not. They haven't had the formal vote, but these investigations will continue. These closed-door testimony or these closed-door hearings will continue. And again, like I said, tomorrow's a big day for Rick Perry. Friday. Big day for Rick Perry. And we'll see what he has to do.
And one thing people need to remember about these closed-door meetings is that there are Republicans involved.
Yes.
And all three of the committees, whether it be the House Intel, House Judiciary, or House Oversight, they're all Republicans involved in these closed-door meetings.
Many Republicans.
The narrative is it's like they're having these closed-door meetings and we don't know what's going on.
Like it's an unfair process, like they're shutting Republicans out. Nope. Republicans are there. This is exhausting. It really is. It's exhausting. All right, so let's switch gears here. I know many people already know about this. We didn't have an opportunity to discuss this, given that the debate was on Tuesday night and we didn't record. And then, of course, this happened after our last recording as well on Thursday. But the murder of Tatiana Jefferson. So this was in Fort Worth, Texas. 28-year-old Tatiana Jefferson was killed by a Fort Worth police officer on October 12th, very early in the morning. Jefferson was inside her home. She was playing video games with her 8-year-old nephew. A neighbor saw that the door was open at her house and called the police. This was a non-emergency call. This was just to perform a wellness check, just make sure that everything was okay. But when officers arrived, they started creeping about, just started creeping around the house. And like I said, just started creeping around the house. And one officer, whose name is Aaron Dean, he approached a window. And it seems to be that was Jefferson's bedroom window, I believe. And you could hear him on the video say, put your hands up, let me see your hands. And what followed very, very, very shortly after that was a single gunshot from the outside of the home through the window into the home. And so it struck Tatiana Jefferson, and ultimately she was pronounced dead at the scene. So police have stated that there was a gun found inside the home next to Tatiana Jefferson's body. And so Tatiana Jefferson did have a permit to have a weapon, have a firearm.
Texas.
Yeah. And she also had a concealed carry permit as well. Now, the nephew has spoken about the events that transpired and did say that they were playing video games. I believe they were playing Call of Duty. You know, they were gamers. They like to play games, right? And this was, like I said, this was very early in the morning. I believe about 2:30 in the morning. And they heard somebody skulking about, creeping about outside the home. Maybe they heard bushes. They just heard movement. Again, this is 2:30 in the morning, and they hear some activity outside the home. So he said that his aunt, Tatiana Jefferson, grabbed her gun and pointed it at the window. That's when this officer, Aaron Dean, I guess, approached the window and saw her and shot through the window.
Shot through the window.
And killed her.
And actually, he didn't even announce himself.
No. He just said...
Show me your hands.
He just showed, yeah, what is it? Put your hands up. Let me see your hands.
But he didn't even give her a chance to comply. Like...
Didn't go in the house and say, police, police, everybody okay in here?
He shot when the gunshot went off, and he shot the gun when he said the word hands.
Yep.
Like, it was like 2 seconds.
Yep.
Let me see hands. Pow!
Yep. Yep.
And I'm glad you called it murder. Setting it up.
No doubt. Because it was absolutely murder.
Through a window now. Through a window. So, you mean to tell me he had no other option, seeing that he was outside of a window? Hey, hold a second. I just saw a gun.
Couldn't move, right?
He couldn't move at all.
Right.
His life was in danger.
Life was in danger. He couldn't just move from the window. He's the one that approached the window. He couldn't just move away from the window.
And you know, it doesn't matter when the lights are on or off, but when the lights are on inside of a house, or you're just inside of a room where the lights are on, it's hard to see outside when it's dark. You almost can't see.
It is.
But if it's dark outside and the lights are on it's easy to see.
Very easy, yes.
Inside.
Yes.
So, like, it's obvious that she didn't know who the hell was out there.
Right. And again, like you said, did not announce himself. Did not announce that police were on the scene. She had no idea. They had no idea that the neighbor called the police and that the police were there just trying to perform a wellness check. Nobody entered the house and was like, police, hey, police, you know,
we're here to check on you. Your door's open.
Hey, you know, is everything okay in here? No, none of that. They're creeping around the house. What else would you, if it's 2:30 in the morning, we don't even, like, maybe she forgot the door was open. It's 2:30 in the morning, they're playing games. We don't know. But it's 2:30 in the morning and you hear activity outside the house. I know me. If I hear some activity outside the house, I'm on alert.
You know what I start doing? I start cutting off lights.
Oh, hell yeah.
I start cutting off lights.
Yep.
Let me cut these lights off.
Yep. So I can see.
Because I was like, you ain't seeing up in here.
Exactly. So it was definitely appropriate for her, given the situation that she was in and hearing the activity outside at 2:30 in the morning, to protect herself. Because that's what people should do. They should protect themselves. Especially given that we have the Second Amendment.
Of course.
And we are legally tasked, or no, we are legally able to protect ourselves with firearms. And if people are causing us some type of danger, presenting some type of dangerous situation to us, we are allowed to protect ourselves with a firearm. Now, she did not shoot, probably because she couldn't see what was outside. But she didn't shoot at all, but the officer sure did. The officer had a chance to get away, but didn't. So anyway, so this officer, he was put on, I guess, administrative leave. His badge and gun was taken from him. An investigation commenced, and he did resign. Okay, so the interim police chief, Ed Krause, he said at a news conference that it was his intention to fire this police officer, or this former police officer now, Dean, but that earlier that morning he resigned from his job. Hearing the news conference was actually, it was very surprising to hear the news conference, to hear to this interim police chief, Ed Krause, talk. his words, he laid out the case for prosecution. He laid out the case for why charges should be filed for this former officer.
Because he didn't follow protocol.
No, didn't he? Like I said, I was utterly shocked by the way he laid it out, saying that just because he is no longer a police officer, we will treat the situation as if he is still a police officer, and things will still be put in his file because this was not the right kind of conduct. So I was honestly happy with what I heard from the police chief. I didn't expect to be that, but yeah, I was happy with what I heard. And this officer was he was charged with murder recently. Now he's not in jail anymore. He did post bond. I believe it was $200,000 bond he posted. So he is out and free right now, but he was charged with murder.
That's what, 10%? Like 20,000?
Yeah.
Oh, he said 200,000? 2K? 200K?
I believe the bond was 200,000.
So that
Yeah.
is 10%, right?
Yeah.
Or 5%. Is it 20%? Is it 10% or 5%?
Not the one to say. I don't know. Not the one to say. I don't know.
Either way, that's still a grip.
Yeah, it is. And also, at this police conference, or at this press conference, the police chief, Ed Krause, he said, it makes sense. Quote, he said, quote, it, quote, makes sense that she would have a gun if she felt that she was threatened or there was someone in the backyard, end quote. Now, we all know that, look, if you have a gun and you hear something creeping around your property at that time of night, then yeah, you're probably going to reach for that gun. So, I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. I can't say that I was expecting that from the police chief, though. We know how these things usually go. And we police unions.
They tend to be tight-lipped.
Yeah,
They tend to not want to say anything that would incriminate.
That's right.
Someone who they employ.
That's right.
So
this
is like soon after.
Yeah.
This is soon after.
Very soon after.
Like this did not drag along.
No. But look, it's tragic that she lost her life. 28 years old, just doing some normal human behavior. I can identify, man. I love playing video games too. And you're just living life, having fun with your 8-year-old nephew, man. I can't even.
I was about to say, yeah.
I can't even begin to imagine how he continues to live his life. Like, what kind of strain that is going to put on his
that's
mentality.
traumatic, man. That's traumatic. Like, it doesn't matter what age you are, that's going to be traumatic. But
he said he saw her fall down.
But see, that's 8 years old. I'm sorry, that's a bit different. It's going to be traumatic no matter what age you are. But 8 years old,
you can't forget that. He will never forget every single moment of that night. Of the night, he will never forget the moments he saw his aunt shot and fall down.
Might not want to play. Might not want to pick up the sticks again. You never know.
8 years old, man. I honestly can't imagine. What's his defense gonna be?
Oh, I'm interested. I'm really fucking interested.
What is his defense?
The only defense he can have is that he was afraid for his life.
Was in fear for my life. I saw a gun.
So I was in fear for my life.
You don't get to creep around somebody else's property, make them afraid, have them justifiably in fear for their lives, and pick up a weapon to protect themselves. You don't get to do that to another person and then kill them because you are scaring them. So I don't suspect that this former police officer, Aaron Dean, went there with the intention of killing somebody. I mean, I don't automatically suspect that. I don't know anything about him, though. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him at this point. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't automatically put that on.
Right.
But this is definitely irresponsible behavior. If you're a police officer, you know that if you're arriving on a scene and there are people inside. Again, this wasn't an emergency. It's not like you were called to this house because of some type of violence, some kind of disturbance.
I saw a suspicious person lurking out the side or lurking outside the house of my neighbor. Like, there was a legitimate suspicion that there could have been a break-in. There's a legitimate suspicion.
It was none of that.
That there could have been like something horrible going on.
It was none of that.
Now, I could understand if that was the case, kind of them approaching the situation with that kind of caution. They're going to approach the situation with caution regardless. So when they go on a wellness check, they don't know anything.
Right.
They really don't know anything.
But you announce yourself.
But guess what? Even if it was one of those situations where, I saw a suspicious person, and I'm not sure I'm scared to go myself. Even if it was that situation, you would still assume that the people who live there might still be in the house.
So guess what you don't do?
You
don't shoot inside the house.
Shoot inside the house. Also,
I've
actually seen situations like that before, where there was someone in the house that they weren't supposed to be in, and the police like, hey, there's a police. You need to come out. Come out with your hands up. If you're in there, we're gonna give you 1 minute to come out. Blah blah blah.
Right.
I've seen that before. So why didn't we see that in this case?
Why were you creeping
around? If they
around?
really thought that there was somebody, obviously they thought somebody was inside that wasn't supposed to be, because he shot inside. So if you thought there was somebody in there that wasn't supposed to be in there, then why didn't you just announce yourself and say, hey, this is the police, so-and-so, this is so-and-so, this is Officer so-and-so from the police department. I'm trying to figure out, is anybody in there? Hello, say something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you don't creep around. Anybody would feel, given that situation, anybody would feel like somebody's not supposed to. I hear something that I should not be hearing at 2:30 in the morning. Nobody's supposed to be just creeping around my house at that time in the dark. So of course they're on alert. Of course, if you have a gun, you're gonna reach for that to try to protect not only yourself but your 8-year-old nephew. Because look, I'm an uncle. I'm a father too. It's one thing to, want to protect yourself. But when you have children in the house too, no. Those senses that you have, that need to protect, goes up exponentially. Because it's not just about you that you have to worry about. It's these little kids that can't protect themselves as well. So she was high on alert. On high alert. It's, like I said, this is...
I had a friend send me a text after this happened, and he asked, he's like, so at this point, do you get anxious just being in your own apartment?
She's just doing human activity, just playing video games. And she was made to feel afraid, and she was shot for it. She was shot and killed for it by somebody that is supposed to serve and protect. Protect and serve. Again, I don't know what his defense is going to be. Like you said, the only thing that you can imagine that I can imagine.
So he's gonna
I was in fear for my life.
Yeah, he's gonna want to try to get off. He's not. I doubt there's gonna be a guilty plea.
But again, the only way that makes sense. You can't make somebody else in fear of their life. You can't cause somebody else to fear for their life and then kill them and say that, look, well, I killed them because I was in fear for my life. Even though I know I created this situation, but I was in fear for my life. What do you want me to do?
No,
you can't. You can't do that.
They're going to do it still, though. They're still going to do it. They're still going to do it. It doesn't make sense because we know how it went down and what happened, but that's what's going to be the case when the trial starts. So, I mean,
how would it be any different than okay, police officer runs up to you, right? Actually, a police officer that is in plain clothes, runs up to you, right? Stands right across from you, pulls a gun and points it at you. You have a concealed carry permit. You see a gun being pointed at you. You start to reach for your gun. You point it at that police officer that is, again, plain clothes. Police officer shoots you. Is that justified? That would have to be justified if this is justified.
Yeah, an ounce or so. He just walks up to you and just starts pointing a gun at you. And you're like, oh, that's your natural instinct is to just be like, oh snap, I gotta pop off myself.
Again, you don't get to create the situation and get off because you created this. You can't get. There's no way you can get off. And look, this area just. This is the same area, you know, Fort Worth, that Dallas-Fort Worth area had, you know, former police officer Amber Gaillard that was recently convicted of murder. Now she only got 10 years, probably only going to serve about 5. I would have to say that this particular police officer would have to get more time.
I think he would. He would.
I would have to conclude that he'd have to get more time. With
See,
Amber Gaillard,
like
she's saying that it was a mistake. It was a mistake. I missed all of these cues. I missed all of these signs. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. Now the jury didn't believe it, but still, at least there was this element of, hey, you know.
I thought I was in my own apartment.
She may have thought she was in her own home. There's no mistake in here.
Yeah,
this dude created a dangerous situation and killed somebody.
If you own a house, man, I really advise people, if they can afford it, to install a camera system.
Oh, no doubt.
Whether it be like at the front door. I know some houses, all houses aren't shaped like squares or rectangles, but at each corner of the house. Unfortunately, it's not just for civilians, protecting yourself from civilians, but you know, cops too. A lot of people wonder why I have a dash cam, and unfortunately, it's mostly to protect myself from lying cops. I've been pulled over multiple times. I get pulled over multiple times a month because of what I do. I drive more, so I get pulled over multiple times by cops. They say the same thing. You weren't maintaining lane integrity, or you didn't signal, 100 feet, or you did this or something. They're just trying to pull you over for anything, so they can get you on something else.
Right. It shouldn't be this way. People shouldn't have to live in fear of police officers. Just earlier today, leaving my house, I see a police officer with, just the blue lights on. Not the full lights, but just, those rested blue lights.
Static blue lights.
Static blue lights on. And just sitting there, like in the cul-de-sac, just sitting there. And so I'm leaving, but I mean, I'm still watching out. I'm like, what is this dude doing? I'm like, what is this police officer doing? It's like, I'm thinking like, I need to be aware of what's going on right now. Maybe that police officer did not have ill intentions, but I'm thinking that he does.
Well, see, I've experienced too many times cops that have ill intentions. Like, I've experienced it too many times. Like a few months ago, I guess, I don't know, maybe he heard my music coming from my car. And I don't have a system. I don't have a system. I mean, it was loud, I guess, but I don't have a system.
Right.
So even when it's turned up, you would have to be standing at least 20 feet away from the car to even hear anything. But I was coming out of the Kroger in Irmo right over there. And so like, it's like the entrance and exit is like right next to a gas station. And there's like a deputy, sheriff's deputy, Lexington sheriff's deputy that sits right there. Like sometimes, I guess like it's just in the corner at the gas station. And so he's right as I'm coming out of the exit. And so he could see me. And so I'm coming out of the exit to make a right turn. So picture me coming out of an exit this way to make a right turn this way. And he's sitting right there, facing that way, same direction I'm going. So as soon as I pass him, it wasn't speeding because he's right as I'm pulling out. So I just pulled out. So it's not like I was speeding or something. I pull out. As soon as I pass him, I see him leave out of the parking lot and he starts following me. I don't know what he thought I was gonna do. I don't know what he thought I was doing. But he started, I guess he thought I didn't notice, but I was like, no, I noticed. Because as soon as I passed, he just felt the need to leave. And he started following me down the road. I'm just like.
Again, man, it shouldn't be like this. But you have to be on edge. All right, so look, it's about that time. We're gonna open this up for calls. So definitely, if you have comment or a question and you would like to join this conversation, please feel free to do so. The number to call in is 669-900-6833. Again, we welcome everybody to call. If you have an opinion, if you want to get something off your chest, please do it. We do ask that it is somewhat organized. I mean, at least let it be a clear thought. That's what we ask. But we don't screen our calls, so if you agree with us, don't agree with us, we do welcome it. Damn it! I forgot.
What?
There was a guy. So there's this guy that likes to comment on some of our videos on YouTube. And he feels like he can educate us. He's a contrarian, So he feels like he can educate us. And so I was kind of talking to him, but I forgot about him. So he said, "Hey, you know what? Look, I need to call in. I need to call into your show and give you two an education. I can teach you some things, right?" I'm like, we have a show on Tuesday and Thursday, every Tuesday and Thursday night. I mean, nobody is restricted from calling in, so I don't know why you haven't done that yet.
We don't screen.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you don't know that.
Exactly.
Already.
I said, I don't know why you haven't done that. Like, why haven't you called in yet then? I mean, if you really want to educate us, why haven't you called in? And so I think he actually responded and said, "Oh, yeah, well, how do I do it?" And I forgot to respond. Because like initially after seeing that, I was like, you know how to, come on, man. It's right there. Like in this box right here on YouTube, on every video, especially every live video, it says call in to comment or ask a question, and it has the number right there. But yeah, we need to get that guy on the show. Yeah. Not like there's going to be a special segment for like just somebody that disagrees with us, but you can call in. You can definitely call in. We'll get you on the line. I forgot who it was, but yeah, I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to go back and find that comment. I don't even know what video it was on. I think it was a Trump video. I think it was a Trump. I think it was a Trump video. He feels like he can educate us. I'm ready for that education, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hit us up. You know what I'm saying? You think you got that hotline bling?
Exactly.
You think you got that hotline bling? You know what I'm saying? No, you don't. You don't got that hotline bling, bro.
I'm not above being wrong. I will never say I'm above being wrong, but I like to think that I do enough beforehand, before coming onto this show every time that we do broadcast. I like to think that I do enough to know that I'm informed of what I'm talking about. And I just don't talk out of my ass. I just don't say things and don't know what I'm saying. Just conjecture, just throw it out there. I like to think that, I lead with some bit of evidence, some proof, some facts, logic, something like that. So if you think you can get me, all right, we'll see. Again, I'm not above being wrong. Not above being wrong. But you're going to have to try hard. You're going to have to work for it. I'm not going to give it to you. All right. But look, okay, so, you know what? Look, we have our first caller.
Look at her. Look at her.
To go into something else.
Look at her.
All right, so let's welcome the first caller onto the show. It's coming from the 450 area code. Caller, you're on the air live with LTMB.
Yeah, I was wondering, how long have you guys been into this politics game and all that?
We started
at the very end of 2015.
Yeah.
Very end of 2015. But really kind of officially doing YouTube videos and stuff, 2016.
Yeah, beginning of 2016. Yeah. Well, who do we have on the line, first of all?
Most people just call me Bob.
Bub?
Yeah, well, Bob, but Quebec, French, Bob.
Okay, all right. So what do you want to say tonight, Bub?
not too much. I just figured it'd be good for you guys to share a bit of your background and how to learn a bit about it too.
Okay.
Like, what got you guys into the whole political thing?
Man, I think we've always been, both of us have been into politics and social issues all of our lives, but it's kind of like being able to like dialogue about it and talk about it has been kind of restricted to just conversations between friends. You know what I'm saying?
Late
Mainly
night
friends.
conversations,
Yeah.
parking lot conversations.
So yeah, we haven't like all my life I really haven't like made an effort to make any like of my political views or my social views public. So even before we started LTMB, I didn't, wasn't uploading videos myself.
No. Actually, this was not really initially the goal. I think at first we wanted to create a website that we wanted to attract some attention. I don't believe it was going to be political in nature at first, but then, of course, like you said, we've always been aware of social issues, political issues. So it kind of began that. So we started writing articles for our website, and then
That was from things you would see locally where you're from?
Yeah, well, just not necessarily. Well, I think one of my articles had to do with something that happened locally.
Yeah, it was a police brutality.
Yeah, it was a police brutality
locally.
situation.
But really, yeah, we usually comment on things that happen nationally. If it is in the national conversation, things that happen locally, we do that as well. But yeah, we just transitioned pretty shortly after that to making edited videos. And then,
it wasn't live though. It was like
No.
we would shoot and then upload.
Yeah.
It made it easier to upload things because everything was like shot with the intent of covering a specific topic. Right. So we come in and start recording. Would be like, okay, let's talk about X. There'd be some situation going on, whatever that's trending or whatever. Like, okay, let's talk about this. We'd have a list of things we talk about and then shoot a different video. And then we upload them to YouTube. We didn't start the live till 2018? 2017, yeah.
But really the motivation, I guess, it became that we saw that there was a void. There wasn't a lot of addressing issues the way that there should be. We have our criticisms of corporate media outlets, and them not actually, I guess, reporting issues that don't get a lot of attention, but that should get a lot of attention. Or maybe them trying to dismiss things or trying to spin things and stuff like that. We know that we don't have the reach of these corporate media outlets, but just to inject ourselves into that discourse, to just try to provide some sort of reason, some type of logic, and just something to give the people.
We entered this with a particular mindset, and that's to pride ourselves on objectivity.
Yeah.
We didn't want to align ourselves with any other, any alternative media platform either.
No.
We didn't want to do that.
It's a bit dangerous.
It's a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of why
I
we came.
could see that.
That's why we came into it. We came into it with, seeking to kind of provide some objectivity. I guess to, I guess this kind of media diaspora.
Yeah. We just want people to be objective, pretty much. We know it's hard for many humans. Probably most humans, it's hard to stay objective because all humans have, their biases, and it's just hard, to engage in introspection, and just hard to call things out, the way they are, because you feel some type of allegiance to something or someone. We just try to, disconnect ourselves from that. If somebody or something or some organization needs to be criticized, we will do it.
Some people don't have a channel or don't have. Some people don't have a channel. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man.
I know. Well, I'll let you finish.
No, I was just saying, some people, some pundits, especially alternative media pundits, they tend to follow the same model that mainstream media does, in that they attach themselves to a politician or a figure, and sometimes they construct their channel based on a particular figure or their allegiance to a figure. Now, most people who watch the show know we support Bernie Sanders, but if you watch our show every Tuesday and Thursday, it's not like Bernie, what are we talking about today? Bernie.
Didn't even mention him.
Didn't even mention him.
No.
So we saw a lot of that. We saw a lot of alternative media outlets kind of following that same model. Like, let's protect these people, and let's kind of construct our media model by protecting these people and kind of aligning ourselves around us.
We ain't in it for that.
No, we ain't in it for that. So, yeah, it started pretty quickly, man. We don't really have a background in like journalism. We don't have a background in like technical aspect of anything. It was just kind of like,
let's start this, man.
Yeah.
Let's just learn on the fly.
Oh shit! You just wanted to take action.
Yeah, in some kind of way. Just kind of wanted to insert ourselves. Obviously, it might morph into something else later where we're kind of involved in a different way. But this is the way we wanted to start. I think it's a good way to start because we put ourselves out there, put our views out there. It's not just, it's not getting people to hear us. It's kind of allowing us to hear ourselves too. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I catch you on that. I guess I had one more question, but I guess two more. As you brought up how to get your voice out there and everything, do you have any tips for me or anyone else on how to do that?
It's
or to have what it would take to do that?
Just stay true to yourself. You know, if no matter what you want to do, I mean, I don't know if it's politics you want to do or whatever, but if you're trying to make videos or make live videos, whatever, just stay true to yourself. You know, that's the one thing. Be authentic.
Be different.
Yeah.
Be different. You have to offer something that's different. Even if you're talking about the same thing, I think everybody has something different to offer based on who they are. Obviously, it matters. Like if you're looking at the superficial aspect of how your platform looks, that matters too. But
learn from others too.
What's your what
works for other channels as well?
What's your channel message? Do you have any kind of maybe a connection? Do you have people to maybe help you out as far as friends to spread your message? Not necessarily spread the message, but spread the fact that you have a channel.
I mean, you can steal things from other platforms, but then do it in a different way. I mean, that's pretty much what.
Sometimes you just gotta actually content.
They're like resending the message in different words or something.
Well, you kind of have to create kind of a portfolio of content too, because we didn't start getting subscribers until we had a lot of videos.
Yeah,
that helps too.
Definitely. And I guess my last question for now, maybe I'll call back on it, but for now it was just maybe if you could each share a story of something that got you personally interested, anything.
I would say, not a personal story, but injustice.
Yeah. Oh, injustice?
Injustice, that's it.
I was
justice in all forms.
Or just a small anything, generic anything.
Well, maybe we have some time we might have some time at the end, but we want to get to these other callers.
Yeah, we got 3 other callers.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But thanks. You answered a lot of my questions really well.
Yeah.
All right, we appreciate you calling in, bub.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.
You too. All right, so we're going to go to 617 area code. You're on the air live.
Hey, what's up, Mike and Will? It's Mr. 617 out front.
Mr.
Boston. Mr. Massachusetts.
What's going on, Ben?
Hey, not too much. I've really been plugging you guys with the Patreon, and I just want to get that out of the way now in case you guys cut me off. And if I go too long at the end, you're going to cut me off. I want to get the most important fact in. I know you guys don't self-promote that much in terms of Patreon, but I've been giving $10 a month to your Patreon, and I watch every show, and I appreciate what you guys do. And I know there's a lot of other people out there who probably do the same thing as me, watch every week, and you know what? $10 is a lot to sacrifice, but what you guys do to put on these shows is truly impressive. So kudos to you on that, Ben. Thank you.
Much
So
love
my
to you,
advice
man.
is for
Appreciate
everyone to try it. Just go there. Go to patreon.com. Is it patreon.com/LTMB?
Right. That's right. You can put that
Yeah.
graphic up.
Wicked easy to sign up. Yeah. Even if you did like $2 a month, $5 a month, like if we all chip in. And I know, I'm trying to spread the word and everything like that, but I mean, it's just, I think you guys need some reinforcement on that. And so I'm just trying to put like a little bit of money where my mouth is, but I appreciate you guys. And I also want to give a shout out to Gene and Jordan. I always like when Jordan calls in, and Jordan's always active in the chat. And then hearing Gene for the first time, she was very knowledgeable. It was nice you guys opened the lines back up for her that time. But Gene was on point, So yeah, shout out to them. Did you notice during the debate that Biden was so excited about that question about like who is your oddest friend that you have? Somebody like it was about
He was
Ellen,
excited about that. Yeah,
he was wicked excited about it. He was like, "Oh, I'm glad you asked that. This is important. This is important." And then he's like, we need to reach across the aisle. I just want to remind everybody out there who is sympathetic towards these scumbag Republicans. They gave us 0 votes for Obamacare. That's 0, not 1, not 2. Yeah. Goose egg. So Mr. Biden's all-time accomplishment, where he was, I don't know what kind of chips he eats or whatever, but he's probably sitting there eating Cheetos while Obama is putting together Obamacare. Then he wants to ride out on his silver horse after and talk about how we need to open up our hearts to the Republicans. Hey, when's the last time you ever heard in like a Republican dialogue or Republican debate where the Republicans were saying, we really need to work with these Democrats. We need to have unity in this country.
You know what? I haven't actually thought about it like that before, but it's always Democrats that are like, yeah, you know what? We need to find common ground. We need to, you're not unified, but we need to be civil. We need to reach across the aisle. I never hear Republicans say that.
That's the way the Democrats kind of make an excuse to be centrist,
to capitulate.
That's their excuse. Hey, we got to work across the aisle. Yeah. Why don't we do that? Like, is that really why they're doing that? They're doing that so they can give themselves an excuse to not go forward with certain things, like to be at the antithesis of progress.
Yep.
And to be what they are, they just need an excuse, and that's a good excuse. Let's work across the aisle.
Yeah, that is a hot take. That is a hot take.
Yeah, well, like, when's the last time you ever saw the Republicans talk about that? They don't do it. And then we have, like, all these losers who are still running for president, like Amy Klobuchar and, like, whoever else, All they're there for is to be a corporate voice. They are an anchor. They are basically a mental anchor to remind people that even though she's got 0 to 1%, that she has these is the one who's telling everyone, no, you can't do it. Because obviously, like, people are waking up. All the rest of the world has Medicare for all, right? So one thing I'll tell you, recently I learned about where I'm in Massachusetts. We're trying to do a state-level Medicare for Mass, basically. And in Canada, it's actually all state. So, like, we all want Medicare for all. If we don't get it, we're fighting for it here in Massachusetts. I hope people will start to do it, because in Canada, it started out, I believe, in, like, let's say it was in, like, I don't think it was, but we'll say it was in, like, Ontario or whatever. And it started there, and it spread and spread. So I'm going to be looking and working a little bit on the Massachusetts Medicare for all. I know you guys like Steyer, but he has no accomplishments and he has no grassroots. So he might be saying the right thing. And I know we don't have a lot of, like, people we love after Bernie, but I'm not sure exactly where you guys are coming from on Steyer. Because do you have anything on that? Any, like, because I'm not sure where you're coming from on that.
It always comes with a caveat. Like, we kind of do say, he says the right things.
Yes.
But we're actually not sure, about his true motives. Even though he's supposedly come clean. Like, it is important to note that, yes, he does say the right things. And the only reason I like his presence is because he backs up Bernie.
Yeah.
So, like, him in a vacuum, I will completely admit I'm not sure about, because even me, like during our kind of a debate analysis we did last night, I said it's a little bit hypocritical to me for Tom Steyer to point out that corporations have bought our government when he bought his way on to the stage. So
Yeah, selling bumper stickers.
yeah, so I do think it's a good point that you made that he doesn't really have any grassroots support. I'm more like, you're talking about substance, which I'm still not bought onto as far as Steyer. We're just talking about like his rhetoric. Because essentially that's all we can go on right now. Like you said, he doesn't have a lot of grassroots support, so all we can go on is his rhetoric and his supposed reformation.
I'm not
is really all.
I'm not like sold on Tom Steyer, but given that whatever I hear from Tom Steyer, he hasn't wavered. Okay, so he hasn't wavered as of yet. He has distanced himself from his earlier past, the hedge fund, that whole background. He has apologized for it. He does run that Next Gen America, which is an environmental advocacy group. He seems like he has done all the right things, coming away from that despicable past. He is saying all the right things, and like I said, it was going to be very imperative what he said on the stage too, because you can say whatever you want. We know that you can say whatever you want in your campaign platform. You can say whatever you want in maybe some interviews, maybe some print articles, stuff like that. But on the stage, what are you going to do? Especially on the issue of Medicare for All, we've seen every single candidate that supposedly backed Medicare for All, we've seen them actually run away from it. Tulsi Gabbard has ran away from it. Kamala Harris has run away from it. Elizabeth Warren has run away from it. Cory Booker has run. Everybody has ran away from it except Bernie Sanders. So I wanted to see exactly if Tom Steyer is real, then you would say the same thing that you have been saying on the debate stage. And what we saw was that, look, he said the same things when it came to billionaires. He was the same one, like Bernie Sanders, criticizing billionaires and criticizing the system that we have in place, in which billionaires are manipulating the system. They're capitalizing off the situation, trying to make themselves even more richer, trying to increase that wealth and inequality gap. It's just, again, I'm not sold on him, but he is saying all the right things. So I have to commend him for that. Not sold yet, but I think he does have a valuable voice as of
I was
right
about
now.
to say, yeah, I think we look at him more of like, okay, there's a reason why he's there. Like, he serves a purpose.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and like constantly push him as somebody like I can definitively say like, hey, this is the guy here.
Yeah.
Or
No, I'm not gonna say he's the guy.
I would say
Not
he
gonna
has
say
a
that.
purpose to being on stage. I think he has
So,
a purpose.
you know how I appreciate you guys going on. Like, that's why I've been giving him even a second look, because of what you guys said. So I appreciate that. You know why Warren is saying that the taxes aren't going to go up on her vision of Medicare for All? Because then when, all the numbers come back, and then she can say, well, we looked at it, but it was going to raise taxes on the middle class, and I'm not going to do that. So I told the truth again, just like I don't take big money and I don't do this, I don't do that. I'm going to do Medicare for All, but it's not going to raise taxes. And if it does, then I can't do it. And the reason that Warren did not endorse Bernie, even though she agrees with him, is because she's from Massachusetts, where I'm from, in Massachusetts. And in Massachusetts, we have all unions, everything, which, is a good thing for the most part. But then Massachusetts is a Democrat machine. So what happens in Massachusetts is that even Republicans become Democrats here because they can't get elected with an R next to their name, besides like somebody like Charlie Baker. But like Warren is going to serve the Democratic machine. Every person here, they're not going to, you have some people like me who are part of the committees and stuff who advocates for Bernie, but the real people like Tom Perez, I think, was originally from Mass, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they do what they're told. So like that lady Trahan, I think you guys covered her. I'm not sure if you did or not, but yeah, she's like one of the people for what do they call them? It's like a Warren representative or whatever from Mass, and she just got the whole party in line. So I would kind of write off Mass for Bernie. He's going to win a lot of delegates across the country, but certain states are sort of like up for grabs. And then you have someone like AOC flip that on its head. But, you kind of got the Democratic machine versus the Justice Dems.
Right.
And obviously we all know kind of where we stand. So I covered all my notes, and I know you guys have some more calls, so I'll let you go. But appreciate you guys, and I always love watching your show. So you guys be well.
All right, thanks.
We appreciate you calling in, Ben. Always, man.
Yeah, you guys take care. Be well.
All right, you too.
Later.
Yeah, I do think that was a good question about Tom Steyer.
It was a good question.
It was a good question because
there's not a lot of background politically on him.
Yeah, not a background politically, so I could see how people could kind of maybe misunderstand where we're coming from because we don't like advocating for him.
It's not like we're riding for him.
We ain't advocating.
But like, no, I do like what I hear in his messaging off of the stage, and I like that it matched what he said on the stage as well.
And again, his messaging has some utility. I think it backs up Bernie Sanders, and a lot of times he does vocally do that on stage. He's like, Bernie's right. Bernie's right. Bernie's right.
Yeah.
So even if he's not popular, and even if he doesn't have like grassroots support,
I mean,
I think it does.
Can a former hedge fund manager or operator can he be reformed? I don't know. Nah, come on, you can. I think it's very irregular. I think
that's why I'm always like on the fence.
Yeah.
That's why I'm on the fence. I'm just paying attention to what he says.
True.
I trust
what
what
he says. Well, look, I know it is very uncomfortable that Tom Steyer is a billionaire, and given that he is using his money to get support, it does rub people the wrong way. I totally get that. But if the billionaire is calling out people just like himself, if the billionaire is not doing things to enhance his status as a billionaire, just for the sake of being a billionaire and just trying to enrich himself at the expense of people that are at the bottom, at the expense of people that are in poverty and are declining further into poverty, I mean, this dude is actually speaking to the needs of people that actually need them. He's actually speaking to the needs of people. Like I said, I'm not riding with him yet, but like I said, as of yet, his voice is valuable. I like that what I saw on the stage matched what I heard from him in campaign videos and on his platform and stuff like that. I think at least optically and at least rhetorically, he's a strong progressive. I don't know if, it's real or not. I mean, I don't think anybody can say that at this point. He's very new to the game. Even though, he's been involved in politics. He has been donating to Democratic purposes for actually a very long time. But actually, lending his own voice to it, actually running for a campaign, this is all new for him. I don't know about him. But I do like what he's saying. I will not lie about that. I love what he's saying.
Duke of Bread, that's Jordan.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever noticed the M's behind you give you red horns?
Yeah.
I guarantee that would freak out eventually. Well, that's someone else noticed that, and they
let us know that.
They let us know that, and they kind of took a screen cap.
Yeah.
They waited till we were in a certain position, and took a screen cap and sent it to us on Twitter. It was mad funny.
Yeah, but it wasn't horns. It was bunny ears.
Bunny ears. Yeah.
I guess I was over here, like that or something. Yeah, I was like that. So they took a picture. I was like, "Hey, Will's a bunny." I was like, "That's funny. It's funny, man. It's funny."
Sin City, NW, Nevada. I guess that's Nevada. I'm assuming that's Nevada. Sin City. That's CYN City. No, that's NV. So I'm assuming that's Sin City, Nevada. Just spell it a different way. Steyer needs to help the down part of the tickets. That's where he can truly help America. That's a good point.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. Smitty said his call couldn't go through. We saw some calls in there, and we saw a couple of calls drop off.
Wondering what video games y'all play.
It's been, man. I'm not
play
like,
NBA 2K.
See,
That's my game.
like,
NBA 2K, I'm all day NBA 2K.
See, that's the thing. I don't play as much now. Like, like now, if I do play any kind of games, it's like it's on the phone. It's like maybe some apps.
Oh, yeah, some apps. Yeah,
some apps. But like, if you're talking about like, I'm not. No, I don't do the computer gaming thing or the online streaming thing. No. But like,
I'm a very big NBA 2K.
See,
I'm
like
very big into NBA 2K.
See, I'm not like that person that you see like a wall full of games. It's just a wall full of games. I get a game and I'm just like I'm on that game.
Yeah, I got a few different franchises.
I'm more like a sports person. Yeah. Like Madden, college, stuff like that.
I haven't bought a Madden game in many years.
Madden sucks now.
Yeah.
It's been sucking for like 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
I used to buy the Uncharted franchise. I loved Uncharted. That was my game right there. I got all those games. I love those games.
I'm into I'm into like classic gaming too though. Like I still play like old Nintendo games. I don't got Nintendo, but I got the emulate on the computer.
Right.
So I'll just be playing like old like Nintendo games and stuff like that, like Battletoads or some shit, or like Spy Hunter. Mario, but I'll be dipping into some old games like Donkey Kong, stuff like that. But I'll dip into some like old classic games sometimes every now and then when I get bored. What's that? What was that? Pro Am or something? You remember that on Nintendo? The Pro Am racing game. I think it's called Pro Am something. Where you were racing like RC cars. It's like you're racing RC cars.
Yeah.
But I like classic games.
I was trying to remember. Yeah, Watch Dogs. I like. Yeah, I got. They made 2 of the Watch Dog games. Those are like, I don't know if you ever heard that game. Watch Dogs is like it's really like this guy that has control of hacking, pretty much. He can hack anything, and he runs. He can not run the city, but he's really trying to topple corruption in the city through like his hacking abilities. Yeah, so I like that game. Like I said, they had two of those games in that franchise. Uncharted, though, like I said, Uncharted was one of the best franchises that I've ever played, but I think the last one was the end of it. I think there were 4 games, but they ended that one. But nowadays, like I said, NBA 2K all day.
I don't really have time, 2K. So I think that's one reason why I just stick to a few because I don't have time to. So.
Yeah, I'm not saying I have time, but I do have time.
Oh, true.
It's NBA 2K. Yeah, that's all I play. Now the kids, they love the Lego games. Yeah, they love the Lego. Either the it's usually the Marvel Lego games. I think we got some Batman. I think we got Indiana Jones Lego games. Any Lego game, pretty much.
That's what they like.
That's what they like. Actually, we got a Ghostbuster game. That junk is tight. That junk is actually tight, man.
I haven't.
Yeah, it's a 4-player game, so it's actually pretty good.
I do remember though, back in the day, I used to be on that Wii like a mug. Remember that? You never did the Wii thing? I love the Wii simply because it was like, active. You know what I'm saying?
Now, on the Nintendo, though, Mario Party, that used to be my joint right there. Mario Party, if you got... I don't know how fun it is with 2 players. I mean, it's okay with 2 players, but if you got, like, 3 or more, yeah. Well, I think, actually, it's only a 4-player game. I think it's only up to a 4-player game. But, yeah, if you got 3 or 4 players, oh, yeah, man. That can get very competitive. Very competitive, man. I like Mario Party. But anyway, look, going back to Bub's question about if there was an event that like got us started. I can't say that there's an event that got me started. I can't say that I can point to an event that got me started and like where I knew like this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to actually lend my voice on camera and talk about political issues. I can't say that. I will say that there was a moment where I kind of changed a little bit. Where, I voted for Obama. Both times I voted for Obama. Okay? And the first, it was in that first term. And I did believe that he was going to actually be a true progressive.
That's what he ran as.
Yeah, that's what he ran as. I believe in his messaging. I believe that he was going to be different. Now, we know that that really wasn't the case, but still, that's what I believed. I actually, at the time, or around that time, I believe it was maybe towards the end of his, I can't remember the exact year, but I remember that I thought about getting into politics, actually like running for like local office and maybe making it all the way up to, U.S. office, blah, 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 whatever. I thought about that because I did, like you said before, we've been talking about political issues, social issues for pretty much our entire lives, our, older teenage years and further. So, I mean, we've been very informed of what's going on, in our lives and the lives of this nation, people in this nation, and globally. So I just felt like, man, maybe I can make a difference. I really believe in this guy Obama, and he made it. He's going to be a true reformer. Maybe I should, I think I could make a difference. But then one of the moments that changed things for me was when he extended the Bush tax cuts. I still remember that. I still remember that moment and feeling like, why would you do that? You didn't have to do that. Why would you do that? And so I was still a young guy at the time.
It's not like they were holding you hostage.
No. And you had a Democratic majority. You had a Senate and a House. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. If you really are about what you say you are, why would you extend Bush's tax cuts, which he got vilified for? Not, in terms of Republicans, of course he didn't. But Democrats, they didn't, at least rhetorically, they didn't like the Bush tax cuts. There was a lot of animosity towards it. So why would you extend it and then permanently extend it? It's like I couldn't understand it. And it was at that time where I was like, man, this guy is just like the rest of them. He looks like he's probably just like the rest of them. And that, like I said, that just did something to to my mentality where it was like, yeah, I don't think I don't know if I put together if he was being corrupted or if that was just his plan all the while. If he was being influenced or if he just had the intention to not really be about what he said he was about all along. I had no idea. Like I said, I was young. I wasn't as informed as I am right now. But it just looked weird. And like I said, it did something to my mentality.
I mean, I think I can't like point to one event. Maybe it's like a culmination of different events that kind of shapes my attitude and my drive to be vocal about things.
Yeah.
I mean, just growing up in general and being observant kind of does that. Whether it be something you personally experience or indirectly experience or something you personally experience. I talk about my childhood all the time in regards to experiencing the distorted way people view things. Even at a young age, if you have a certain level of sensibility, you could sense that. Mm-hmm. I had experiences in middle school and elementary school that showed me that I'm viewed differently. I was approached differently by certain teachers. There were certain teachers that said things to me that I was like, why are they saying this to me and why are they saying it like this? So I wasn't mature enough to be able to articulate, even in my own head, not just out loud, like what that was about, but I did feel it. So later on, I was able to kind of piece those things together, but I had certain experience at a young age to understand my place in society and understand how society is polarized. Obviously, when you're young, you don't know nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing, man. You don't know how to, you don't see any differentiation. You don't see any, you're not worried about certain things, so you're not very cognizant of the different, the different viewpoints, different religions, different viewpoints, political viewpoints, ideological viewpoints. So you're not you're internalizing the world around you, but you're not too conscious of it. And even if you're sensible to your environment, you're still don't know how to interpret it yet. So maybe just just getting older and being able to interpret these situations that I've experienced, all those culminating together kind of sparked me to be more vocal in my, political views and my social views. I can't point to just one thing. Like I just remember like the Rodney King thing. I remember not just that situation, but the situation in my classroom that took place with my teacher talking about it, arguing with a damn 11-year-old. I was arguing with a 30-year-old woman about why that Rodney King shouldn't have been beaten or hit 90-something times with a billy club. I'm like, why is an 11-year-old arguing with a 30-something-year-old teacher? You know what I'm saying? So situations like that were like very eye-opening to me, especially with bigger stories. So I was kind of, even at 11 years old, I was kind of like paying attention to little social issues and politics. Obviously, I wasn't at 11 years old. I'm not like the same as I'm now, but I'm experiencing like even high school, certain things I experienced, and I don't think we've ever talked about this. This is kind of like very, I would say like micro politics within a small town, like with sports at our high school, like that was very, I don't even know what word to use, but that was very kind of.
It was eye-opening.
It was eye-opening.
Yeah, just the favoritism.
The favoritism in politics.
Yeah.
We like that. That's probably one of the first times we experienced like kind of privilege in politics.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
In our own environment, it was it was in a small town, so it was like kind of gave us a glimpse into like where it kind of starts at.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that I can. Yeah, I definitely can. I felt that moment. I felt that moment. That was a lot of privilege, favoritism,
nepotism,
being basketball players, and it was. We're throwing out all those adjectives, all those words, but racism as well.
Oh, true that. Because where we grew up at.
Yeah, because
it was a good old boys type system. Too.
Yeah, I mean, it just so happens that during the summertime, the white players would be invited to the coach's house. The white players would be invited to workouts, and for some reason we weren't. It was like
we didn't realize that.
Didn't even know anything about it.
They had already set up teams pretty much. They allotted 1 or 2 positions specifically for black players. It was one of those situations where it didn't matter how many good players there were, black players. They already had like
it was like a quota.
It was a quota, and so it's like they wanted the basketball team, regardless of talent, to I guess look like the rest of the student body. And some of these players, their parents were boosters as well. So that's kind of like money in politics. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Your parents are boosters, so hey, it doesn't matter how good your son is, hey, he's going to get a position. So that was like an experience of like money in politics for us at 16, 17 years old.
But we were left out of a lot of these things that were happening, especially in the summertime. But I guess what the coaches didn't know were that we were cool with the white players as well. So they would let us know what was going on, and we'd be like, "Oh, really?"
And we would
okay,
kill them. We'd go to the gym and kill them.
We're like, "Okay, well, we're showing up. We're coming."
We'd go to the gym and kill them.
Yeah,
straight kill them.
But yeah, that was eye opening. Later in life, I definitely would say that I was influenced by the Young Turks. I definitely would say that I was influenced by them because.
When they started,
I remember in 2008 watching the election of Barack Obama and watching it with the Young Turks. And I mean, their platform, I remember like, man, that was some hard hitting reporting. You didn't see, especially in independent media, like, I don't even think that was a term. Independent media? Nobody knew about that. What was independent media? Like when they broke out at first, I remember just, like, oh man, I thought I was late to the scene because I think at first they were on Sirius Radio, then they had the YouTube platform, and like I said, it was just commentary that you just didn't see, especially didn't see in corporate media outlets. So just giving their commentary, and then actually coming into 2015, and I will say Bernie Sanders as well. By the time that we knew Bernie Sanders was going to be running. we had already knew that we were going to do something. Now, it wasn't it wasn't like laid out what exactly we were going to do. Were we going to do just like a website or something like that? Write articles? Were we going to do videos or something like that? Have a show? We didn't really have it all mapped out. But then came the candidacy of Bernie Sanders as well. And like I said, I think that provided a little bit of influence.
Yeah,
because that was a progressive that was unafraid to actually say the things that needed to be said. And it was like, my goodness, man, look, we have got to talk about something like this as well. This is not the same old, same old. You know, Hillary Clinton is the status quo. Like, we're used to a candidate like that. And then coming off of Barack Obama as well, it's like, man, we thought he was the real deal. We thought he was actually going to push forward a progressive platform, but he didn't. But this guy, Bernie Sanders, my gosh, he's actually saying all the right things, and he has the history to back it up as well. So it's like, it's just like, there were a lot of different things that influenced.
Yeah, that's why you can't just chalk it up to like just one particular thing, because it's a culmination of things. I mean, I guess it happens like this for most people, but like getting out of, I don't know, getting from up under the umbrella of like a high school education, you know, because that just teaches you like basic things about, it just teaches you basic things like about the United States and about the world around you in a very, I would say like in a Disney-like fashion. It kind of, I don't know, it minimizes a lot of things. It glosses over a lot of things. So when you get out of high school, you get from up under that. It's like if you start reading on your own, then you start to develop, you know, a different attitude, a different worldview. And so, again, all that comes together, not just like this one little.
Yeah, it's not just like one moment that just like changes everything, or even makes you realize that like this is the route that I want to go into. It's like it's life experiences. It's not over the course of a week. It's over the course of years. Like I said, before we actually put LTMB on the map and actually did something with it, we had been talking for maybe 2 or 3 years about doing something. We just didn't know what the hell we were going to do, but we knew we were going to do something. And then ultimately it just, and actually the last year, or maybe like the last almost year, really what was holding us up was a name. We were like, damn, I don't know, like what is a relevant name? Like we don't even know what direction we want to go into. So we can't, like, it's going to, like the name is going to decide like kind of like what we're doing too. So it was just a big process.
Yeah, I'm not even going to, well, I'm not going to touch that one, but.
No, I'm not good.
That person is right. I'll just say that. That person is right. But also, Bub wanted to kind of, he said something about like getting the channel off the ground.
Yeah.
I do think like promoting your channel, like doing ads, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
you got to be careful with that though.
I know, using ads to promote your channel.
Yeah.
To to kind of get it out there.
You got to be careful with that because I mean, you can waste money. You can straight up just waste money and it won't go anywhere. Honestly, I would say I wouldn't do ads until you actually had some type of
following. Yeah, true that.
I would not go ads at all.
Well, at least like
let it build like organically first.
And a portfolio of content.
Yeah.
At least.
Because if you do invite people to come to your channel, but you only got like 2 videos, something like that, now you want a little bit more than that. You want to keep them there for a little bit, a little bit. Yeah. A lot of times when people see your stuff and actually like it, they're going to want to hear more from you. And if you don't have more to offer, then they may just dismiss you and not come back. So,
like also like be on as many platforms as possible as well. You know what I'm saying? Like Twitch, Periscope, YouTube. I wouldn't recommend Facebook, but I just wouldn't count it out either. It's just that Facebook is not really reliable, and they tend to hold your viewers hostage on purpose. So you pay for, I guess, reach. Pay for reach.
Yeah, Facebook is not the platform to like make a name for yourself unless you do have a lot of money to spend on ads. I don't think it doesn't seem as though Facebook is the platform you want to make a name for yourself, unless for some reason or somehow you're able to create a video that will go viral, and look, that's an inexact science, making a video go viral. But if you are able to do that, then yeah, I mean, Facebook, would definitely be great. It's just, can you do it? Not everybody can do that. So. but like it's a learning process. You'll get better at it if anybody wants to do it. You can contact us. Through email, Facebook, whatever, Twitter account, whatever. We can provide some tips, but it's a process, man. Especially if you're in the thing alone, or maybe just have a little bit of help. The whole video editing and when to upload videos and how to tag them and just different little things it's all a learning process. Like Mike said, we had no background in this whatsoever, not in the political sense and not in broadcast journalism. We had no background. So this whole video editing and having different types of equipment and software, all a learning experience. Right now we're, pretty good with what we have. We know how to work everything. Pretty good. But it took a long while to actually get here. Like I said, it's been over 3 years since we started. It's been over 3 years. Yeah. Coming on 4, I guess. Yeah, coming on 4. So yeah. It was not so smooth at the beginning.
Don't go back and watch our old video.
Don't do that.
Like, because we were shooting with his iPhone.
Yep, with the iPhone.
Yo, and that thing would just run out of batteries.
It would get hot.
And run out of batteries, man.
Oh, we used to shoot on the iPhone, man.
We used to shoot it
with
on
the
the
one snowball.
iPhone.
With the one snowball.
We used to shoot it on the iPhone.
Yeah, man. With the white background. Remember the white background. With the white back.
Kind of off-white.
A little bit off-white.
Off-white. It was like a gray-white, like a grite or something.
Yeah. It wasn't the best. The madness moment. I took that video off.
Over here talking like the Micro Machine, man.
I pulled that video off, though. You can't find it no more. It's hidden. You can't see that anymore. Oh, man. Maybe in like 10 or 15 years, I'll put it back like for a limited time or something like that. Pull it back. But yeah, man. That's what we have for y'all today, okay? So look, we want to give a shout out to our callers tonight. Bub, we had also had Ben call in. We did have another caller, like I said, but
a couple of them dropped
off. We don't know exactly what happened with that. All right. Well, look, we have. All right. So look, we have a little bit of time for one. Flashcloud is saying that you can call in with Skype. All right. So
he wants to call in with Skype. We can take a quick minute. We can take a quick call because we ain't doing the show for 4 days. So
let me see.
Give you a few minutes.
We need calls. All right. So the way to call us would be I don't know how to work this thing. I guess it's just, I guess you have to call us at letmadnessbegin@outlook.com, I think. I think that's what you need. Or you just search Let Madness Begin. Or is it Let the Madness Begin? I have no idea. I think it's you have to search Let the Madness. I think you have to search Let the Madness Begin. If you do that, we should come up. Because we don't have a phone number anymore. We used to. That was the way that we used to do this caller thing, and then they just busted that all up. Remember that? It was working fine. They busted it up.
And they all of a sudden changed the platform. All of a sudden. They said, hey, we're not going to be doing this anymore.
Like, why would you? Why? But still collecting our money. All right, I'm not seeing anything from FlashCloud. And I don't see any. Oh, hold up. Nope, that's not it. Damn, that was from last year. Somebody went to add us last year, December. Mitchell. All right, look, we don't see any invitations. Oh, that was Snork.
What?
Do you see this message?
Really? Really?
Again, that was almost a year ago.
That's hilarious. I wonder if Snork's watching tonight. That's funny. We didn't see that.
Nah. Didn't I say that?
Not filling up to calling tonight. I have gas. Too close to my microphone. Just adding you for next week. That's hilarious.
That's funny.
We appreciate you, man, sparing, everybody, including us. We got it.
Well, hold on. See, that's not gonna work because it shouldn't be coming like that. I'm not even saying hello because I know this audio is gonna be busted. It's like it doesn't hold the settings.
Yeah, once you open Skype, it's like you have to have different settings than the settings we have.
But it doesn't save them. All right, let me see. It always goes to default right here. I think it has to be that. All right. Are you there?
Hello?
Hello, what's going on?
See if they can hear.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it looks like we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to test it out, see if it's working. This is Calvin.
What's going on, Calvin?
I'm about to pass out. Go to sleep. Yeah, but it's working. Interesting.
Can't wait. We're gonna see if the audience can hear y'all. Can hear you.
Yep, sounds good.
Sounds good.
They can hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. That's a good test trial. All right. Later, y'all.
All right, appreciate it, man. All right. Still, I don't hear anything from Flash Cloud because that's Calvin. I know who Calvin is. We see Calvin, but I don't see anything from Flash Cloud. So maybe Flash Cloud went away. See that? Remember that, right? All right, so look, like I said, want to give a shout out to Bub and Ben for calling us in, and Ben just for rocking my mind, man, about that whole Republicans never say that they're gonna reach across the aisle. Of course they don't. I never thought of it that way though. Like I said, that's why I love hearing, having callers, engage, because you come from a different place. You come from a different perspective, maybe. You just seeing things maybe a different way than I can see it, And like I said, I've never thought of it like that. That was mind blown, man, straight up. Also, we have Ben in the super chat section, I believe. No. We have Trudy in the super. See, I shouldn't have just assumed. I thought I saw Ben. Trudy. Good show, guys. Thanks. We appreciate that, Trudy. Trudy, we've heard from on occasion. Love to have you here with us, Trudy. Any other comments we got to read off? Oh, Snork is here. So Mike read off that Snork comment talking about he had gas. So Snork said, yeah, he remembers. I found a great sugar substitute. I made a gallon of lemonade and drank it all. Found that limit you can drink per day is a quart or you almost explode.
That must have been.
Thanks for the tip, man.
I swear that must have been, a memorable experience for you to just.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I do remember that. Bad night. That was a bad night.
Yo, man. Bubble guts are. I hate. It's like bubble guts are worse than a headache. Like anybody, if you have, you can. It feels like you can work with a headache. Mm-hmm. It's hard, but not talking about migraines though. Yeah, just a regular headache. Different. I feel like you can work with that. But if you got like some problems right here, yo,
that can put you on the floor.
Yeah. You don't want to sit down. You want to stand up. You want to lay down. At least with a headache, it feels like you get through it. But bubble guts, anything like up in here,
Yeah.
Nah.
I agree. Well, of course, you remember the show where I did the whole
challenge.
The challenge.
The challenge.
It was the Choco Challenge.
Choco Challenge.
And yeah, I was on the ground, man. I was writhing in pain, man. That was a bad night, man. It was a bad night. But it did not last until the next day, so that was good.
True that.
Did not persist, so that's good. All right. Now I can say Ben out front is in the super chat section. Madness is 12 candidates creating chaos.
Oh, for real. It just doesn't need to be chopped.
Yeah, man.
Chopped.
But see, again, you I'm not going to go long on it, but still, Tulsi Gabbard saying that, this is an unfair process. Like, how... Nobody wants to see 12 candidates. I don't care who you are. Nobody wants to see 12 candidates on a stage. Nobody wants that. So there has to be some kind of process to whittle down these candidates. So if there's a process to whittle them down, I mean, isn't somebody going to complain? Somebody's going to complain. But does that mean that it's like a corrupt process or something like that? I mean, I know I'm taking up for the DNC here, I guess, but still, nobody wants to see 12 candidates, and the goal is to whittle the candidates down. Nobody wants to see 12 candidates show up for the caucus in Iowa. Nobody wants to see that. 12 candidates? And it's even more than that. This is just 12 candidates on the stage. But there's really what? Like I said, I don't know. There could be 15, 18, 20. I'm not even sure. I don't even know how many candidates there are. I know there are more than 12.
Officially, there are some left.
Yeah.
Oh, more than what we see on stage. Officially.
All right, we're going to do one more call. All right, you're on the air live. This is what, Tony?
Yes, Tony.
Oh, look at this. Oh. Hold on, Tony. For some reason...
It changed back.
I don't understand.
It changed back.
There is no, okay, keep these settings. All right, hold on, Tony. This is ridiculous. All right, so we should be good now. All right, Tony, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, you can go ahead.
All right. First off, about Elijah Cummings when him passing away, he's already getting a lot of flack from at least about half of the black community, I think. That's what it seems like on Twitter.
Yeah.
Did y'all mention why? Why is he getting flack or not?
No, we didn't mention why. I mean, there's a lot of people saying that look, he stole money from Baltimore and this and that, and I mean we've heard some claims out there, but they all lack evidence.
Well, the top thing is on Black Twitter is he ain't do anything. 20 years, his only claim to fame is he helped in the impeachment proceeding of Trump. And that's only because Nancy Pelosi pushed it, because he wasn't out there with Al Green. He voted no when Al Green presented the impeachment, articles of impeachment.
Yeah.
And that's on the record. He voted no. So he didn't really do anything.
Most of them did, though. I mean, most of them did.
And then when you start talking about, what he did for the black community, that's another big thing on Black Twitter. There's nothing there, and everybody's saying he do shit. I don't understand why we celebrate him.
Well, what didn't he do though? I mean, like,
when I look at his wiki, I think he sponsored a bill for like some type of savings account for government employees.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody, it's like stuff like that. Nothing specific for black people. Nothing specific for his district. Nothing nothing outstanding. But then when you look at somebody like Al Green, Al Green did more.
I mean, I think anytime there's like a death, there's always this knee-jerk reaction to either
you want to reflect.
Yeah, you want to reflect on it. So it's like if we just mention that, hey, this dude, the congressman died, blah blah blah, it's like it's always like, well,
he ain't do nothing.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, all right, okay,
yeah,
okay, like so it's almost like they don't even want the death to be acknowledged. Like, that's not the point of, I guess, someone's death being acknowledged. That's really actually not the point when acknowledging someone's death, is to say, well, the only people who get their death acknowledged is people who we felt did something. I'm like,
nah, he died. I mean,
that's it. He died.
Yeah. And
he was a congressman.
And it has to be acknowledged because, one, he was a sitting U.S. congressman, and he was the chairman of the House Oversight Committee. So, of course, it's going to be acknowledged.
Yeah,
of course, his colleagues are going to have, warm words for him and condolences for his, surviving wife. And, I mean, that's just the way things always go. So, the need to, like, look back on, like, who he was, like, everybody could have done that while he was still alive. But nobody really did that. Like, you didn't hear all of this before he died, but now that he died, everyone's like, shit on him now? Like, why? Just because he's gone?
And actually, nobody's telling people in general to be like, hey, since he died, now you got to, like, somehow, I don't know, like, respect his legacy.
Yeah.
Since he died. I don't think nobody's being asked to do that. So, he died. Yeah. I'm not going to go out of my way to, like, put him on a pedestal simply because he died.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna mention he died.
But I'm not gonna do the other thing too though, and like just go to vilifying him too. So I'm not gonna put him on a pedestal, and I'm not gonna treat him like he's an evil this and that.
Because all that stuff could apply to like a lot of the black leadership. Personally,
it can.
Hey, they be saying it. They be saying it on Black Twitter. They be letting them have it, dude. I'm telling you.
And I can understand it. They can let him have it. I'm not gonna like. I'm definitely not in the business of tone policing people, but it's just like, well, okay. Now take that to the ones that are alive too. Now
Exactly.
Take
like
that
if you have something to say,
take that same.
They do. They do.
These ones that are alive.
They do. They do. Trust me. They do. And the next thing is the whole Trump impeachment. Y'all mentioned that Trump's defense, which he already did with his I guess his press secretary. He said that while investigating Joe Biden's corruption, a constitutional scholar out of Ohio already mentioned before Trump even did it. He said that is a defense Trump is going to take, and it is a plausible excuse, even though nobody believes it. Is a plausible excuse because the executive branch can't investigate a crime in a foreign country. I swear to God, that's exactly what he said. So Trump might wiggle out of this.
Look, I don't think anybody can predict what's going to happen because I think more stuff is going to happen. I didn't anticipate that Rick Perry was going to, oust himself, that he was just going to resign his position. I didn't anticipate that Sondland's words were going to be as, I guess, Biden as they were, really. I didn't anticipate that Mick Mulvaney would admit that there was a quid pro quo. So I think there's a lot more to this story that just hasn't been unveiled yet. So,
it's still unwrapping and whatnot.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, look, the American people, it seems as though they're warming, by the day, they're warming up to the idea of impeachment. They're warming up to the idea of removal from office. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to be the one to predict how this thing is going to go, but it's looking increasingly more damaging for him, though. I know that much.
And as far as like investigations, like it's going to be hard for him to wiggle out of that because he used his personal attorney.
He did.
That's the thing. So I get where you're coming from, and I think it's kind of a good preliminary kind of speculation concerning how Trump is probably going to try to defend himself. But it's going to be hard when he employed his own attorney secretly. You know what I'm saying?
Secretly.
Like I said, like the way he went about it, just like screams of like under the table. Seriously, the way he went about it just screams of under the table, like
this is for me.
Yeah,
this isn't for the United States of America.
Yeah, and like I said, if it was like up front, like, hey, I'm going to talk to the Department of Justice, as well as any agency that coordinates with another country in regards to setting up some sort of policy about corruption, and I'm going to attach that to this aid, and he was out front with it because it was an honest attempt to do that, then I would have been like, oh, well, he did it the right way.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a story.
It actually wouldn't have been a story, but he didn't do that. And it's not, you know what I'm saying? And it's not, it's not dealing with, that's not how you deal with corruption. If I say, hey, I'm going to deal with corruption broadly in general, then you implement like broad policy. That's how you deal with corruption, not just go to investigate one person. So if he would have went about it that way and was open about it, then it would have made sense. He could have been smart about it, but he's dumb.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even like in the business of doing that. I'm not even, I don't even have a mindset to try to create a situation like that. And I can sit here and think of a better way he could have gone about it and still remain clean.
Yeah.
Clean optically. Like he's just dumb.
Yeah, he went about that dumb. I agree. I don't believe him, but I'm just saying that's what that constitutional scholar said. He's like, this is his defense. He's going to set it up just like this, and then the Senate is going to be like, well, this is a very plausible story. We're going to go with it like this, and they're going to be talking about Joe Biden the whole time during Trump's impeachment, and it's going to derail it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, no doubt. It's definitely possible. Yeah, that is really
anything's possible.
Anything's possible,
especially with Trump, man.
I think. Look, but regardless of if this is going to actually get him removed from office or not, which I still think is possible, I could even lean towards probable at this point. I don't know. I'll hold off on that, but maybe some more stuff has to take place before I would say probable. But if nothing else, I think this will have an effect on the election. If he makes it to the election, this is going to have an effect. Yeah.
It should.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to talk about, guys.
All right, that's what's up, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you calling in, Tony.
All right, y'all have a good night.
You too, man. Always good hearing from Tony. First time hearing him call on Skype, though.
Yeah, I know that.
But appreciate you calling in, Tony. Let's see if anything. Looks like we had a troll or something like that. Did we have a troll? We had a troll or something.
I don't know.
Maybe. Familiar troll, something like that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Something like that. I'm not gonna name him or anything, but
keep on seeing Jimmy Joe's name in there, and I keep thinking Jimmy Dore.
I do. Yeah, I do.
I'm like, Jimmy Dore up in here. JD.
But yeah, all right. But that's all we have for you guys tonight. Appreciate you, everybody that called in. Like I said, appreciate everybody that was watching tonight. Appreciate everybody that was in the chat section. Appreciate everybody that decided to contribute to the platform through Super Chat. And also appreciate all of our patrons on patreon.com. So a big shout out to Ben, too, because Ben always makes sure
everybody knows.
Everybody knows about Patreon, and he encourages people to join him and others and contributing to LTMB. So big shout out to Ben for that. Big shout out to Ben. So yeah, with that, we're gonna sign off. Should have some clips for you tomorrow. Try to get a lot of clips of the election, of the debate. Try to put that out tomorrow. And we'll be back next week. Next week will be regular, I guess. It'll be the same time, Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m.
Sure, we'll have a lot to talk about Tuesday. More will be unfolding.
Big day for Rick Perry on Friday. Yeah. Big day for Rick Perry. Will he
comply with the subpoena?
Big day. I'm going to be watching. All right, we're going to be out. Appreciate it, everybody. We'll see you in, 5 days next week?
5 days, yeah.
All right. Peace out, everybody.